Hello everybody, on today's Let's Talk Fate Grand Order, Lostbelt 5 is a thing that exists, with banners, so we'll be sure to talk about all those new servants and stuff. Also, our first impressions of the new Christmas event. And at the end, some stuff about Teach Me Omega Sensei. Do you know how time works? Hi, I'm one of your hosts, Tiny Dear Omega. With me as always is Mana Burst Cage, Lucky.
Everyone, I hope you're enjoying Fate Grand Order, aka your in-flight movie. And while we here at Studio Mega like to bring you the latest in FGO-related news and memes, we will be talking about current and future events for both the JP and EM version of the game. So anyone not wanting spoilers should bring paper clips. Big ones.
Yeah, so let me know what you guys think about the new intro. I figured it might be good to let everybody know at the front to keep that viewer retention, what exactly we're talking about in the show. And I've seen some other shows do that, so I want to try that out. So really, I think the first question is, do we want to do business talk at the front or the back?
Let's do business talk at the front.
Alright, so a couple of things. Number one, we got some more feedback from everybody recently. It was kind of roundabout, but there was some generally feedback given. We had a discussion with the community about stuff. Mm-hmm. And I would like to remind everybody that we do read all your comments, and we have a Discord, so if you want to contact us, that's all there. All that works. We'll get your messages and stuff. So if you do have feedback, let us know. So, a couple of points I think that mostly people were talking about was, one, we hear you about timestamps. That has been mentioned in the past, but also, I think people kind of let it lie because we didn't really do anything about it, but it has been brought again to our attention. So, that's kind of a complex thing because, in case you don't know, and, you might be new or you might have forgotten, the way we do the show is we record audio, I edit down that audio, I then turn it into a video, so the only way to do accurate timestamps is either after it's audio or after it's video, have somebody watch all 1 to 2 hours of it and type down what times things happen. So that's a little difficult for me and Lucky because the other general feedback we've gotten is that you guys like fast turnaround time. You like us to record the show and then as soon as possible get it out so it's as current as it can be with all the usual delay for processing, uploading, all that stuff. So after I record myself for an hour and a half and then I edit myself for an hour and a half, I'm not really in a mood to then listen to myself talk for an hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever, again, right away to do timestamps.
What happened before is I would wait for the video to be posted, and I just go in the process and do it afterwards, and I just edit the description to put the timestamps in. But as I said, that takes a while.
Yeah, and when we're doing our fast turnaround, sometimes that doesn't work. So for the moment, as lazy as this may sound, but it's there's only two of us and there's only so much we can do, so it's a lot of work. If you really care about timestamps, it would be if you ever posted your own, we would be sure to upload them. But several patrons have actually mentioned that they would be willing to, say when the audio gets posted and so on, actually listen and post timestamps there, and so you should thank them a lot if that actually works out in a decent time span, because they're already supporting the show very directly, so it's really great of them to volunteer to be helpful to other people. In the future, hopefully, we'll have, a dedicated editing pipeline, whether that's Editor Lucky or a third party, and just that becomes part of the process. But, again, like we said, you guys prefer faster turnaround time, so editing and uploading and stuff is a little quick and dirty, just because that's what we can do with the tech we have. Lucky's typing some stuff we'll talk about in a second. The second thing is it's actually related to today, because Lucky streamed some FGO on YouTube. But we've also heard that some people kind of would appreciate it if we maybe streamed some stuff more videos. So to explain that in case you're newer and don't realize, because if you look at our channel, I actually used to upload a lot of FGO videos. Then I had to get a new phone, because my last one, the battery stopped working. So I had to get a new one. My new phone doesn't have the right RAM or processor or whatever to really do video recording really good. I tried with a couple of videos, and even though I said that I knew the video quality was bad in the description, nobody would shut up about how bad the video quality was. Which, in case you don't know, that's one of the things that really annoys us, is if a question is clearly answered in the description, and then you comment about it, that's just like, why can't you read? Please. Why did I write that? But yeah, so basically it no longer became tenable for me. Lucky has recently got all his stuff together with his new evil ghost computer to do Samsung Flow and all that, and he's streamed some stuff on Discord, and so obviously we can also do that on YouTube, so hopefully that'll be in more of a schedule lately, but that's just kind of why we stopped. In an ideal world, yes, we'd have all the funds we need to make sure that both of us have really nice professional computers and phones and whatever, but we don't. So that's kind of part of our ongoing, evolving channel thing, is getting better. And if Lucky wants to talk about streaming, he can.
As I said, like, I have, like, over the past of the week, I've streamed a few times. Mostly it was just Monster Hunter and chill. Today's stream was, Fate Grand Order and chill. And people have been saying they like seeing me stream, and they think I have a decent personality for it, but they would definitely like me to maintain a more steady schedule. And as I said, many people ask me to stream FGO. I'm a little weird about that because I will definitely not call myself anywhere near a top tier player, and people got a taste of that.
No, people give you sass about the fact that you're not made of QP, and they're like, "Why you have so many level 1 SSRs?" Because I said this to a couple people on our Discord when they were talking about it. It's because Lucky has so many. Where does he get the time? You have like no QP. You could level those 5 stars if you wanted to.
Yeah. Like I said, I have like I think right now like 102 max level servants, just spanning all the rarities. And let's not even get talking about my skills. It's hard. It's really hard. But it also came out that I find like the secret's out. The secret's finally out. I do have a Merlin. He is still level 1. Oh, there was
some salt about that. I understand.
Yeah.
I was like, gasp! The secret's out. Because obviously you let me know for the sake of just we hang out together. But I was like, I'm not gonna say nothing, and I didn't.
Yep.
And honestly, that's like thinking about it like time wise. That's not Merlin's fault or anything, because you also have that was also shown on stream. You have like Saber Shiki, who you got last Thanksgiving, who's still level 1. Your NP5 Vanilla Saber Artoria is still level 1, which I said on stream that was truly cursed. Because you opened that profile up and showed it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's just the luck of Lucky.
That's something else, talking about stream I want to do is, I think we have some very choice emotes in our Discord, and I think there's some way to put them into
So with YouTube memberships, we can add custom emotes. Other people would have to pay to use those, I think. Though, I don't know, that's the thing we need to look at next year is the YouTube memberships. That's just a thing where I'm like, I don't know if we got the technical background for that. But we'll continue to look into that. If we are streaming regularly, that might be a thing where people like chip in whatever the minimum they allow us in, and they can, give us like $1 a month on YouTube and get access to fun emotes or whatever.
Yeah. As I said, because we have a lot of fun emotes that I would definitely like to bring over. Like cursed, maybe some sips, all that stuff. But so yeah, I definitely heard people. I'll definitely make more effort into streaming FGO and maybe on a more regular schedule. As I said, I do want people to know that schedules are liable to change, mostly just to how life is. I gotta make it fit where I can.
Yeah.
But I will try.
Yeah. Once again, we're not quite doing well enough at this to be full time. So actually, we're still quite a little bit away from that, but we're doing better. Yeah. Thankful to very many of our patrons. Got a lot of you come along in the end of the year, and actually, this might be a good time to remind everybody that we are brought to our patrons, like Ahaka Comics, Qua, Jeremy Vasquez, Kylie Denton, Nestor Flores, Soda Sun over 24, and Video Gamer 75. And still that one person who remains anonymous by choice. Mm-hmm. And, that's not the end of the business. I got, like, a couple more bullet points. The next thing about feedback is that it was, once again, brought up a couple things about maybe collaborating with people.
I shook the can!
It was also kind of a weak crunk. He tried.
My nails are short, so it's hard for me to get under there and do it in one swift motion.
I hate when that feeling when you recently shortened your nails.
Yeah.
Luckily, mine grow back fast, but then I gotta trim them again. Anyway, the thing is, collaborating with people is apparently a thing people are still interested, so some of that is our personal feelings about stuff. Lucky and I are both socially awkward and slightly uncomfortable, and I will say, at least personally for me, I kind of feel like it's a little bit scummy to, like, sidle up to people and be like, hey, your YouTube channel's bigger than mine, give me some of your fame. So we don't really like to just grab people out of the blue to approach for collabs, because that's weird. And not that we are averse to it. We have our long history of doing collabs both on our channel and on his channel with voice. He just doesn't do FGO videos anymore. But we're open to that. So first off, I would like to reiterate, if you are an FGO YouTuber of any size, we were very small once, and you want to come on the show either to talk about a particular topic or just to shoot the shit with us a little bit, provide another perspective, we are open. You can approach us. We got an email, we got a Discord, we got all kinds of stuff. You can reach us, slide into our Studio Omega DMs. I don't know. Whatever floats your boat, so let us know, and we'll see if we can work out a schedule. And if you are a fan of us and maybe other FGO YouTubers, let us know who you think would be good fit for collabs, and let them know, because collaboration is a two-way street. So you have to make sure that everybody's willing and able to get in on this for it to work out.
Yeah.
So that's just
that. I'm retweeting that.
What's Lucky retweeting now? Oh my. It's got a video. Hold on, I've got to retweet something. Something that's just under that. It's funny. You'll see it in a sec, I hope. Or you may have already seen it, who knows. But the third thing is just a news thing, so it's the holiday season. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a Christmas. My birthday's in there somewhere. There's a New Year's. And also I've got some other nebulous stuff going on that I don't really feel the need to talk about on the podcast. I'm not a talker, guys. You might not think that from me yelling about this, but I'm not, this might actually be a topic for What's Up, is talking about how people handle stuff, because I've had some very interesting conversations lately, all over the place about this, and just like, yeah, my natural coping mechanism isn't to talk to people about my shit. That makes me feel awkward.
I'm gonna post that in Patreon chat. It's not lewd. It's just good shit.
Yeah. So I've basically, and I talked with Lucky about this before the show, so I think basically this is episode 119. I know we don't do numbers anymore because that scares off the audience, and the YouTube algorithm doesn't like it. They don't like big numbers.
Nope.
Small numbers are okay. Big numbers, not so much. Because that implies that you should have watched all previous 118 episodes, which you don't have to. This could be your first one. Hi, thanks for listening. But, so, next episode would be 120. Make an awkward noise. There's a bug or something attacking my screen. It left. If it comes back, though, you might hear me swishing around trying to swat it, because that's going to be really distracting. Anyway. But next episode is 120 with big numbers like that. We like to do live shows. Also, basically based on the timing, I want to say we're going to take 2 weeks off, and by which I mean we'll return in 2 weeks. We'll record on the 3rd, hopefully, unless something fucks that up. But anyway, we'll take a break off for the holiday season and come back in a couple of weeks, and that'll be episode 120. That'll be the first show of the year. That'll be a good episode to have a live episode, get all the audience in publicly, talk about stuff, kind of review the year, review any new news that's actually newsy, and talk about our experiences and stuff, because Christmas obviously isn't done yet, but it's time-locked, so not a lot we can do about that. And there's going to be some Lostbelt prologue stuff that should happen, but that should not really be news, that should be story, and be like our discussions of feelings. And with the public, we can actually ask you what your feelings are. So that's my current plan, assuming nothing gets real goofed up or anything in there, is we're going to take a couple weeks off from our major shows. We'll record one more Let's Talk FGO. It's this one. Hopefully, I've got the time over the weekend to do a What's Up. And then Lucky obviously can still stream if he wants, because that's all on him. And I'm going to try and make sure I've got a Wanted Hokusai in the pipe so that can go live before that banner, whenever that happens. And yeah, that's just our general plans for the next couple of weeks. So, we still have some other stuff going on. Like I said, Lucky will hopefully find some time to stream in there, but obviously it's still the holidays, so I don't know, do you guys have free time to watch streams?
Well, like I said, I might do, like, there might be a roll stream coming up, maybe. I don't know how I feel, but we will see. Like I said, like, I don't have a lot going on during the holidays. Like, I'm not gonna lie, for me, at Christmas, I go home for like a few hours. I hang out with my folks and my family, and I'm just like, all right, cool. You're gonna give me stuff. Here's my gifts to you. Let's take gifts. Let's have a meal.
Yeah,
all right, I'm out.
I know. It's like I said, there's some complex life stuff going on. For me, some years are like that, and then some years are like, okay, we're going to one of your sisters. All your brothers and sisters are going to be there, and all your brothers and sisters' kids. So it's like we got to get up and go and be gone for a couple of days, and they're somewhere. So I don't know if on Christmas Day I'm actually doing anything big. I don't know, but in general, the holidays can be a busy time for me because I do have a decently sized family, and we don't necessarily get to see each other a lot. It's not like, in my particular case, we can just, walk down the street. So, it's good to catch up with people every once in a while, and, taking a vacation's all right. So, But I'm just asking the audience, like, are they gonna be busy? You guys gonna watch streams? If Lucky does a lonely Christmas stream, would you be there? Who knows? All right. So that's all of our news. So I think it's time to check in with everybody's favorite Kohai, Mesh. As soon as there it is.
Senpai, 起きてください.
That's right, everybody. It's time for Wake the Fuck Up, Senpai, our favorite segment for pro tips. So, today, this one's a little long-winded, but it's good advice. So this is more a mentality thing than, like, a proper pro tip. This isn't like a life hack, but with setups for bonus servants, CEs, etc., and now we have monoclass nodes, I think there's generally two ways you can approach event farming. If you have lots of CEs, or even if you just have a couple of the bonus CEs, you can probably preserve your drop bonus or even maximize it if you also have bonus servants. But this means runs might take longer. Like, for instance, you can get a lot of sand drops out of having some merry sheeps, but that CE doesn't have any starting NP, so farming fast is a little harder. But if you have lots of good bonus servants, or even just lots of good servants and a backline, you can use regular CEs to maximize your run speed. Neither way is precisely better. And obviously, if you don't have any apples, you want to maximize your AP, so even if it takes you longer, you want to get more out of the individual runs. But, I don't know, people were a little concerned when you were like, I have 200 gold apples, Lucky. And I told the Discord, and I'll tell our audience now, I have 400 gold apples right now. I'm spending them slowly, but I'm also earning a few back. But if you have a decent stock of apples, this is a lotto event, you can just keep doing over and over again to get more drops. Neither way will precisely be better. You should just think about what works better for me. Like, are you low on apples? Then you probably do want to do I want to maximize my bonus even if the runs take me longer. If you have apples to spare, and maybe you don't have a lot of time on your hands, then it's just, okay, what's the fastest way I can get these drops and just keep going? Thinking about these things.
Oh, what a Japanese artist just followed me. What the fuck?
Cool. Japanese artists never follow me. Though some people do follow me sometimes, which is fun. Like, I know a couple of YouTube people doing stuff. Oh, shoot, am I in the last phase already? When the fuck did that happen? Sorry, I'm trying to farm right now because I may be having a busy week, so I want to make sure I got all my stuff. I don't know if this is really a Record from the Throne thing. That's the zone we're on right now, but I am through box 5. I just can't cash it in yet.
Mm-hmm.
But when that happens, I will be ready to cash out and get all my welfares and stuff. I just need them to finish the story so I can. And I've got plenty of wreaths to buy spare copies. But I'm trying to get that fat EXPs because... So for me, I dropped a total of 330 Saint Quartz for Eresh, which means I did get her because I had like 450. And along the way, Enkidu, 2 Kazgills, 2 Medusa Lancers, and a new Fran, and a full set of CEs tagged along. So many CEs. So this is ranked in the positive because overall it worked out. There was much screaming cowboy. But boy howdy, was it a ride. You can follow this. There's a Twitter thread buried in there somewhere on my Twitter. Literally my first pull, the first card is Enkidu, a gold SSR Lancer spook. That's why he's at the back of the EXP line. He knows what he did. Hurting my poor heart right there. No, he's not in the Fion corner. Fion's not coming out of the corner, but Enkidu's at the back of the line. And then it kept going. The Medusa Lancer with a Kazgill in there, another one with Medusa Lancer. But eventually Eresh happened. And actually, that was when I was at my lowest point in rolls. I was tapping through, and I got like a Fran card, and I'm just like, whatever. And then the next one comes, and it just sparks to Gold Lancer, and I'm like, oh, is it? And then, just Cowboy screamed all night. So I got her. I still got some St. Quartz left, though my personal experience with New Year's isn't great, so I don't know if 140 or whatever will work for Hokusai. Well, they'll probably give some more, I guess, but we'll see what happens. Yeah. It probably won't be more than one extra 10 spin or two, so we'll see. Yeah. We'll see what happens, because my SSR luck is crazy good right now. So in case you guys want a recent tally, so on Thanksgiving, I got both Karna and Da Vinci on Da Vinci's Day on tickets. I got Abigail on tickets for her banner, because I was trying for Queen of Sheba. And then I've gotten Eresh and Enkidu on that same banner. So that's a lot of SSRs who are sitting at level 1 for me also, just because I don't have enough EXP. Holy shit, so much EXP. It takes so much, kids. Like, I'm trying to get Eresh to level 80, and it's just, even with all the lottos, it's so much EXP. Why?
It's pretty bad. Oh, God. Oh, what?
I said, but that's me's, so
Yeah, over here we're gonna go to me. So Lucky and his pulls pulled a neat Hime. Why do I get another assassin? Why? Also got me an Amazon. And now I'm rolling with NP13 Medusa Lily and NP5 Caskill, as well as an NP2 Pavarti. You heard all those words. You didn't hear one in specific. I spent a lot of money, y'all. I really did. We're already in not all the world's evil because lots of court spent, no Eresh. It hurt. It really fucking hurt. I'm not gonna lie. Like I wasn't. I think I only had maybe 120 quartz to give us, and I wasn't expecting, to get her in those 410 spins. I was expecting to spend, 80 to maybe 1 or 2 big packs to get her. No, it's much more. I don't remember my exact numbers right off the top of my head, and I don't want to.
No, let's not.
Yeah, let's not. But I'm not done. As I said, there's going to be another day of singular Eresh rate up. And I'll have my 900-day bonus plus the quartz. I'll have a chance, all or nothing.
And give it a whirl. If you stream it, maybe people will take pity on you and give you money.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I suppose that wouldn't be don't actually do that though, because that wouldn't be a fast turnaround time. Because YouTube's not fast about that. That would go into our revenue pile. That would get added to our Google wallet at the end of the month, and then partway through the month they pay that out to me, and then I have to pay that out to Lucky. So. Daddy Google Bucks is strong but slow.
I don't know if they if people I was I'm not all the way broke. I have money, so if people if I got enough to buy an 80 pack from donations, I could just use my own money. But I don't know.
Yeah, sure. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We're not quite peak shill hours yet.
No, I did do a solid shill on stream though.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
I too have shilling skills. They're just hidden. They're my hidden power.
The hidden shill crown.
As I said, I'm gonna add to the. I'm gonna make a change to the drinking game. When Omega shills, it's a small sip. When Lucky shills, it's a big sip.
Big sip with 2 G's and 2 P's. Alrighty, so let's see. How far are we? We're about 20 minutes into the show. This is probably going to be a big one, which is good, because we like them big down here. Let's really quick cover, did you finish your master missions? They should be pretty easy if you're doing any farming at all. So, you gotta defeat 15 archer-class enemies, excluding servants and some bosses. You gotta defeat 30 enemies, excluding servants and some bosses. You gotta defeat 15 assassin enemies, excluding servants and some bosses. And complete any quest with an archer in your party, times 5. And complete any quest with a lancer in your party, times 5.
Gee, I wonder what that could be.
And complete 10 quests. So, hopefully, if you're actually able to play and farm the event, you will have something that counts for these. We literally just had a Christmas rerun, so you should have a Lancer who is a bonus servant, at least.
Mm-hmm.
If nothing else. And there's an Archer bonus servant coming in this event, so... You've already got her, technically. She's temporary. Mine's not super leveled. I've been feeding her my spare silvers, but it's a slow going. It's so funny, though. Oh my god. Oh, we can't get there yet. We got a lot of news to talk about. Well, maybe not a lot, technically, but there'll be a lot of discussion with this news, I think.
Yeah.
So, it's time for Skelegrams, then. Alright, well, here's the big buster. The big announcement. They had a stream, and they announced Lostbelt 5, the release campaign, from the 18th to the 31st. Pretty big window. And the new chapter, Lostbelt 5 Atlantis, has dropped. Well, part 1 anyway. So here's the bamboozler. After you play 20-something chapters of the story, I think, possibly closer to 30 if you count various prologues and setup stuff, it ends in a cliffhanger. The story stops while you're in a crisis and doesn't go on yet, and it's grayed out again, which has shocked a lot of people. Basically, it sounds kind of like it's a slightly better envisioned Salem, where you play a lot of the story, and then there is a literal dramatic cliffhanger point, and then it cuts. The only thing is we don't know when it's coming back. Hopefully not too long, but I don't know. I mean, the banners and stuff run to the 31st, so I hope it's not all the way until the new year.
I still, like I said, from what I understand, that's a lot of chapters, so it's, even
it's a big boy chapter, and then but it doesn't conclude yet, is the thing, which is super interesting. I'm actually very curious what they're gonna do, because in the intro to this story, they once again, because there's been a lot of questions about Lostbelt 6, because that's set in Great Britain, and it's around the divergence point is said to be the year 500 AD. It's quote-unquote round table territory and all that, and it's got the legendary EX level depth. So a lot of people are like, oh boy, this is going to be a big thing, right? That's a big time. But the story has also been consistently saying that Lostbelt is, like, too freaky and, like, destroying itself. Mm-hmm. So the Lostbelt 5 prologue doubles down on that, so I'm like, I have absolutely no idea if we're actually going to go to Lostbelt 6. Like, will we actually go there, or are they going to do, like, haha, it died, now you have to do Lostbelt 5 Part 2? Like, I don't know what they're doing. They could just as easily go, hey, shouldn't Lostbelt 6 have exploded by now? It didn't. We have to go there and stop it. Like,
Maybe it'll explode and it causes some weird fucking effect.
I don't know. So, I'm not going into any details about the story summary, I know. It's just, that's a thing that the story has consistently been saying in Japanese, so I'm like, I'm really curious how they're going to handle this structure.
Sounds like a good time. I do know that some people are kind of mad about it, though.
Well, some people are kind of mad because it doesn't conclude, you know? It's a cliffhanger. Yeah. It's like the end of Empire Strikes Back. No, we're not talking about Star Wars movies yet. We haven't seen it.
I heard some people like saying like that they think that like the licensors just had to rush it out, and that's why they didn't give you the whole thing.
Possibly, but it is really long. It's like, it sounds like it's got length on par with like Camelot and Babylonia level text.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing. I'm like, so we already have this big meaty story, and I think they just say it was literally too big and too meaty.
It's too big to do in one release. Because let me tell you, no spoilers, but there's a fuck ton of characters in Lostbelt 5. There are like 3 people on this banner. Well, 4. But one of them's not new, and we'll talk about that in a second. But there's a fuck ton of like new story sprites and new characters, and even characters who are alluded but are not in scene, so they're definitely going to come back later. It's like, it's a whole fucking thing. They could probably have like 3 or 4 banners just based on this alone. So, and also, I don't know the state of, like, the leakifying or the data mining, but some of those leaks were clearly wrong, because Canis did not show up on the first banner. I think most people are saying that based on, like, appearance and stuff, she's probably still a 4-star, but we don't know. Like, is she permanent or not? Black Mask Man, who I may or may not know, have figured out which identity he is, has not appeared also. But Europa is a 5-star rider, and we'll talk about him in detail later. I've got all the deets, but Super Orion came out of nowhere.
Like, oh yeah,
like people knew that he would be a guy, but like he came out on the first banner out of nowhere. They were like, "Holy shit, he's here! He's the flagship guy on the banner." And some other reasons which people may or may not spoil in comments. Maybe don't. I know the thing. Lucky does not know the thing. You don't have to talk about the thing. Leave it a surprise. But yeah. So let's see. There's 2 new Ascension mats. Silver Crown and Comet Shard. Here's another big one. Hector got animation updates. They're pretty sick. He actually slashes people now, and his NP's not super artsy, but it's got a little bit more detail to the whole Rocket Lance type effect, and like it crashes down and explodes like all NPs. Seriously, why do so many NPs involve crashing into the earth and exploding? But yeah, so that's cool. He's got animation updates. I don't know if his voice lines have been updated at all, but it's neato. And it's on point, I think, for Atlantis. So we've got some quality of life updates, the usual stuff. You can now copy support setups. So if you want to, like, displace your support setup, you can literally copy it to a different slot. I did not quite understand the language on this, but there's some kind of new sort option for how much foe enhancement you've given a servant, separated by attack and HP.
Oh, okay. So
not, like, total amount of, not, like, range of attack enhancement, but, like, actually how much. So maybe you can, like, prioritize stuff. A lot of people seem excited for this, but the Spirit Origin list, your servant inventory screen itself, now has a bonus servant filter.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, so you can filter that whole screen, not just, like, enhance and team building. And also, dates that are, gifts that are important, and thus are not expiring, just their expiration date has been removed entirely. There's now a little icon to show that it's indefinite, just a little cleaning things up.
Okay.
And here's the big news, Lostbelt 5 Summon campaign running through this duration. So, new limited SSR Archer Super Orion, literally superhuman Orion, but I think Super Orion's cooler to say. And now permanent SSR Rider Europa. That's our first new SSR Rider who's permanent since Achilles, which would be almost 2 years because we're about to get that collab here. And also new rare Rider Mandracardo. Who the fuck is that? I'll tell you later, don't worry about it. But that's Lostbelt Rider, is Mandracardo, as a new permanent 3-star. That's neat. Love it when they do that. Also, SR Chiyohime is on Raid Up, so she's the 4-star holding down the banner. And some new CEs, which are all Apocrypha themed for some reason. I'm not sure why. Now a lot of people are saying this would have been a perfect time for a Medea CE, but I guess not. You can get Nazi Darnik now, though, on a Zeppelin. And spoil the fuck out of Apocrypha if you haven't watched it. But yeah, so that's the overall tone of it. Lucky, I assume you have not seen any spoilers whatever.
No,
you don't look in spoiler chat. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on, a lot of interesting characters, a lot of interesting meaning. We will get into that in 2 years when we're in there, but this is a big deal story. Like, what was our 5th one again? That was America, right?
Yeah.
Like, this one is it's a cliffhanger, obviously. This seems like it was way a bigger deal than how E Pluribus Unum turned out for us.
Oh.
And I believe a lot of people are saying that the author is either Meteo Meteor, who's a Type Moon writer who's worked with Nasu, and a lot of people think wrote Salem, or a collab between them and Nasu himself. So probably why it's so wordy. So this is big boy, big brain time chapters, and some very, very interesting things happen. And like I said, so many characters. Holy shit!
Well, I'm hoping the writing is damn excellent then.
That does seem to be a theme. There's a lot of events going on. I think the only complaint I've seen from like a writing mechanical standpoint is there's a lot of different things going on at once. There's like some big battle sequences or some big plans you're executing. So sometimes you are doing fights with solo story support characters because those characters are off somewhere else doing something.
Okay.
Which may be why there's quite so many chapters, is some of these are fights that are happening elsewhere. But yes, it's very, very interesting, and I it sounds like it's got a lot of dramatic stuff, and I can't wait to see it in person. And there's some very interesting characters. And some very interesting mobs, which I don't think illusions or like talking about characters who are probably not going to appear are spoilers. Would you say, Lucky?
I wouldn't say so. No.
So this was known from data mines and stuff, and he's in the CM, which has come out and is very beautiful. Got a lot of interesting stuff. I haven't seen the big high def screen cap, frame by frame yet, but you can still pick out some stuff. It's very interesting. But Jason is in the story, obviously, because he's in the CM. But he says that while Archer Herc, who we know from Strange Fake, has a lot of NPs, that would probably be pretty powerful. He says that Saber Hercules is at his deadliest. That's him as the quote-unquote penitent wanderer.
Oh, 12 labors Hercules?
Yeah, something like that. Like when he's working through his stuff, and he's the most deadly, which I assume means that means that he's got a sword and he's using 9 lives. Which is scary good, not just as a bow technique, but stuff. So I'm like, so he doesn't show up in the story directly, I don't think, but that's another like, ooh, that would be an interesting illusion. I'm like, is that how they're going to get around the fact that they probably can't use Archer Herc yet, because Strange Fake is super slow? There's supposedly some news about some anime stuff about Strange Fake, but I'm like, aren't they at a rate of like 1 light novel volume a year? And we're probably not I think the author has said that he's not necessarily like halfway done with the story. I don't know. If they do anime stuff, that means it'll get ported and I'll be happy, but I don't know if the story's in a state where they can do that. We'll see.
I have seen the CM. I do want to know, like, it seems like, I don't know if all of them are in there, but it looks like a bunch of the new bronzes were in the CM. So
yes, it seems like a lot of the bronzes were added as kind of a stealth LB5, because Charlotte Corday is in there, Jason is in there.
Wasn't Paris in there at some point?
Yeah, Paris is in there at some point too. So that's like 3 of them. I don't think Gareth is, but that would also not make sense. That's probably a 6.
Yeah.
And who else we got? Salome's not in there. That's 2. Chengang's not in there, but that's technically retroactive. He appeared in Lostbelt 3. But yeah, there's quite a few of them, so it's kind of a stealth thing, and there's some other interesting characters we got going on. So like I said, it's going to be super interesting to see what banners they have in the future and what more stuff comes out. But also it's exciting, but it's not necessarily going to be super relevant to us because we can't talk about some of that stuff yet. Though I will say, also another thing that's really interesting, one of the enemies you can fight is like, there's a lot of weird mecha themes going on. That shouldn't surprise anybody if you've been following kind of lore stuff for a while. But there are some like weird silvery mass-produced enemies. There's at least one boss fight who has an interesting ring of dog head-looking things. Which look a lot like one of Kirki's specific attack animations. And I know that canonically Scylla, or Scylla, I guess it would be, is a berserker, so I'm wondering if that's like a soft preview they're actually gonna pull that trigger. And there's some other stuff that Lucky will be super excited for, but we'll see. That is a spoiler, though. That would be talking about like certain big characters appearing in like Babylonia or Camelot or whatever, so I'm not gonna say it yet.
I'm hype.
Yeah. Alright, so that's all that stuff. And then I think this was just today or last night they announced this, but they're having a Fate Stay Night 15 years, and also the iOS release of Reality Nua and Capsule Servant commemoration. This is going on from the 20th. Yeah, so I think they just announced today, and it happened today, until the 27th. So you get a login streak for several days to get a total of 15 Saint Courts, and a commemorative CE. It's like 5 a day, and then the CE at the end, which is the Fate Stay Night heroines. It's that, so it's tripled up so you don't get full view of them, but it's that one of those arts of, like, Saber, Sakura, and Rin in, like, their nice dresses and stuff. There's a Type Moon museum exhibit that a lot of people have been tweeting about and showing off, which has a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah, a lot of details are coming out, too.
Like, they've got, like, a recreation of Nasu's workspace, a office map that shows where everybody sits, and they put, like, little fun stuff, like, Takeuchi's desk has a little saber figure on it, Nasu's desk has the mushroom. There's one guy who I don't remember who it was, but it just has Monster Energy cans on their desk. So, yeah. And also, this reminds you that how small Type Moon really is, because there's, like, I think it's, like, a 4x3 cubicle room. So it's you know, not much more than, like, 15 or 20 people. Also, this isn't in my notes, but somewhere in there, Type Moon BB got a new website design, which involves some really interesting pixel art.
Really?
Complete with a BB. If somebody could dig up that link for me in the chat, that'd be nice. But yeah, so they're continuing to do interesting things, and if you don't recall or haven't heard, Type Moon BB is a new spin-off studio they opened to do 2D games in-house and collab with bigger developers on 3D games. So basically to take over kind of the business of doing stuff like Extella and so on, and like collabing with people on those. And everybody's really, really helpful. This means, like, because they're BB themed, this means like some extra remakes or re-releases or something.
Alright, I don't see the BB, but I do like, because I just pulled up the website.
Okay, well, keep watching.
Oh, just keep watching? Okay.
Yeah, well, assuming it's the right design. You can see it in motion.
I mean, this is I put it in the Patreon chat.
Is this the right? Yep, this is it. And just watch when that van goes by.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. By the way, this pixel art is fucking sick.
Oh, it is. People were wondering, like, I do remember when people were saying, like, they were saying Type Moon Studio BB. Is it actually BB? And the question is, yes. Yes, it is.
No, they have taken inspiration from BB for their brand. Okay, notes, show notes, because they tabbed over. So, to celebrate the fact that Reality Nua and Capsule Servant are releasing on iOS in Japan, there's a couple of commemorative quests and some CEs. Please, for the love of God, give me those ports. Reality Nua is the enhanced version of Fate Stay Night, and Capsule Servant is just a fun, dumb minigame they did as an April Fool's thing.
Okay, by the way, so I know why I had initial confusion. They actually have multiple pixel arts. Oh, one's one's an office and one's outside.
Yeah, the outside one has some fun stuff in there.
Oh yeah, the office one does too. It's a little creepy, but I dig it.
Yeah. So yes, there's some. They mentioned this earlier, I think, at the anniversary, but they're releasing the Reality Nua version of the Capsule Servant stuff on iOS. So commemorative campaign, like I said, for the love of God, please, at least Capsule Servant. That can't be. That's just a dumb capsule game. Please let me play that. And a lot of servants get double FP and double suck chance during this campaign. Basically anybody who's related to Fate Stay Night or Capsule. So it's I could go to FGOJP and pull up the list, but you guys can just as easily do that, because it's not a short list. So that's fun, doing stuff. Mostly JP news. I'm pretty sure, because last time we did the Christmas pregame, we obviously covered the news of it coming out, because it was like immediately after the announcement stream, so I think we're okay on that. Nothing really new has happened for us at NA.
Not really, no.
There's the thumbnails. Combine it with the title like, Lostbelt 5 is here! ! Feat Ereshmas. That was actually a shockingly popular tweet. I tweeted out the night the banner went live. Merry Ereshmas to all and to all a good night. And that got a lot of interaction, funnily enough.
Neat.
We like it when you interact with things. Yay, us. So, that's the news. Now let's move into free talk. I've been talking a while, and lucky you just happened to, on stream, blitz through all the story we can access right now. So why don't you tell your impressions of the Christmas event?
Like, as usual, the seasonal events are always top fucking keck. Have we ever had a serious seasonal event?
No, I don't think so. I think that's the point.
Oh, that's a good point. Oh god, where do I even fucking begin?
While you're thinking about it, I can throw in a comment as a reminder that I think it was this year, but there's definitely an interview rolling around with Nasu talking about the writing style, and that story chapters are usually where you get your classical, serious, Type Moon style writing like you'd find in a major Fate work or earlier stuff. And then events are where you get your lighter-hearted, more entertaining style writing, like the kind of things they compared it to is their famous April Fool's events, which can get quite elaborate and very hilarious.
Yeah. So, like, starting off the event, like, things are weird. Apparently, like, Chaldea is super hot, and people... And you're just all like, what the hell is happening? And you go out to find Gil, who has succumbed through sheer force of will. And he's all like, alright, I'm gonna use my power, and I'm gonna send you to the source of this problem. Take care of it, buddy. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And immediately there's a, like, I don't know what it is with the master and literally falling constantly, but he has to get caught a lot. Or, excuse me, I should say.
Yeah.
Because upon falling, you are caught by the fluffiest sheep. And one Altera Santa, who I love how, like, I was trying to figure out what the fuck the mustache was about, because, like, before I didn't know, like, I didn't, like, find out, and it's, like, just anytime, like, Altera Santa is Santing, it's fucking mustache mode is on.
I'm she throws in the mustache and it's like, ho ho ho, little children. Fooling nobody because she's very underclothed as Santa.
And apparently it gets to her because she keeps sneezing.
Yeah,
it's like, aren't servants not supposed to feel, like, extreme temperature? It's like, I kind of thought that was, like, one of their things. I don't know, maybe it's because we're in the Underworld.
It could also be because she was only a little bit sick. Because she gets approached by a shifty-ass sheep.
A very golden, shifty-ass sheep. Like, again, now, I'm glad I actually know where this golden-ass sheep comes from, because I've seen art of people just being overwhelmed by fluff.
Yeah, he'll come back a couple of times in some later stuff. Good old, Doomsy.
Doomsy, yeah.
Doomuzed.
And...
but he is a shady sheep salesman who is like, yo, I'm gonna make you Santa.
For reasons. You know, this is how we're gonna save Chaldea.
You must go to the deepest part of the underworld and deliver a present. That is what Santa does. Goodbye!
And we actually go through an interesting tale. We're back in the underworld, we gotta go through the 7 gates again, and interesting enough, you can almost think of this as a follow-up to the events in Babylonia, as basically all the characters are chilling down there for one reason or another. I know some people might be like, alright, then why is the Angry Mango down there, the Angry Manu? And it's quite like, as my immediate thought is it's kind of a Tiamat proxy, not fully. Because
it would probably have too many implications for you to fight Tiamat again, even in an event as a joke.
Yeah,
Lucky's got it.
Because as you call in Babylonia, one of Tiamat's authorities just let her basically spew the Chaos Tide. I actually think they mentioned this in the Babylonian chapter, but
it was definitely mentioned in the anime when that happened.
Yeah. The Chaos Tide basically has the same effect as the Grail Mud from the Yuki Holy Grail War. And the Grail Mud basically comes from the influence of Angry Manu when the Einsburns, fucked up the Holy Grail several games ago.
Yeah.
So if we basically just think of Angry Manu as just basically a proxy for the Chaos Tide, I think he fits quite well.
Mm-hmm. Also, he's a Christmas light.
He's a Christmas light. Bam. Again, seeing Angry Mania again, it's like, I remember that he's supposed to be this villain, but he just seems kind of just like,
Well, that is the thing about his backstory, is that he's just some loser they decided to call all the worlds evil. So, he's he is at sometimes very, very powerful, especially as an NPC. Holy shit, his NP is so bullshit.
Oh yeah.
But he's also really, really shitty. So he kind of falls into those whole things.
Also, people keep molesting fucking Altera sheep, and it's weird. Stop it.
Well, the sheep apparently is her bag, so she's giving out CEs again, and they're just hidden in the sheep somewhere, Zerko. Which, by the way, again, this is hilarious. Those are anti-cell sheep. They have the faces of the anti-cell enemies from Extella. So they're evil alien computer virus sheep.
Yeah, again, like, this is another thing I hope for, is, I know, like, technically, Extra and Extella is its own kind of thing, but we already got a CCC collab. Like, I'm hoping we actually get an Extella collab, and we can start pulling in these additional elements.
Yeah.
And interesting enough, apparently what seems to be the theme of most of these CEs is their memory of some form or whatnot. As comical as this event is, I'm not gonna lie, Ushiwakamaru's it made me hurt a little
there's
bit.
a lot of feels because you get a lot of either informative films or flashbacks with Eresh as you were going through this.
Oh yeah. As I said,
poor Eresh. First of all, poor Eresh, because people keep giving her shitty authorities.
Oh my god!
Nurgle's such an asshole. He's like, very well, I should give you half of my authority. I shall give you the authority over diseases. Bye! Yeet! And she's just like, no, wait, I wanted the sun. Damn it. Fuck.
And Doomsday was all like, instead of my authorities over, like harvest and shit, how about the ability to control snakes and gazelles?
Bye, bitch!
Bye!
Smoke bomb. She's just like, but you freeloading motherfucker.
Ah, yeah.
That's, by the way, that's also though why Ishtar is constantly surrounded by tiny deer. It's because she has authority over gazelles. That's a super funny thing. But like, you feel so bad for her because she's such a diligent worker. Mm-hmm. Like, she has done nothing in her life but work hard at making the underworld tolerable, and just nobody will give her a break.
Nobody. She's doing the job her best her can, and but yeah, but like, I'll talk about feels, like, Ushiwakamaru, like, it was about Ushiwakamaru's point where I realized that we were basically going through all the Babylonia characters, because from the dialogue, it actually seems like this is the Ushiwakamaru from Babylonia. He got turned via the Chaos Tide, and she's basically serving a sentence down here in the Underworld to repent. And that's why her, the CE she picked, the New Year's, event, like, hurt me, because she wanted to know basically if the master had, like, survived everything and was able to celebrate the New Year's. That's why, like, Benkei and them were asking about the time, and why, that's why she wanted that scene, because she wanted to know that, and she's like, oh, good, this is good. Now I can, like, continue to serve my sentence. I'm just like, oh god, why? But poor Benkei, who says a few words too many, talking about how, Ushiwakamaru will never be as fully figured as Lady Raiko. And it's all like, Benkei, you about to die.
You're a dead man.
You're a dead man.
Though, what Benkei gets is, what's the exact name of that CE? It's from one of the collab ones.
I think it's like, I don't know if I think it's literally the Wandering Tales of Shanao. I think.
I'll look it up. Oh, it's Wander Tales. Wandering. Your grammar right, me. Yeah, okay, so that's the Wandering Tales of Shana OCG from Rashomon.
Okay, sweet.
Which is, that's the depiction of Uchiha Danora.
Yep, doing the 8-boat leap.
And there's some poor archer there in the POV shot who is fucking dead. That man is dead. But yeah, I can't remember exactly which CE it was, and for some reason the Grand Order Wiki is being very slow to, like, load pages and stuff. But yeah, it's a New Year's CE, which I believe you're right. It was the one from the year after Babylonia and Solomon.
Yeah.
So basically proving that we survived the incineration and things got better. Funny how that works out for today's Teach Me Omega Sensei topic.
And then, like I said, you continue on. I believe the second gate was Anger Manu, which really wasn't story heavy. He was just like, hey, I'm a villain. Give me presents. And you're like, no, we're gonna beat you the fuck up.
I'm evil, Santa. And Altera's just like, gasp, we must face him. And the first gate was Anna. Specifically, it was Anna.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
What even CE did she... she ended up with Armless Shinji-kun, I think.
Yeah.
Magaroshi Shinji-kun, because the first they tried to give her one of the cool, I think that's technically extra Shinji, but still one of the cool Shinji CEs, and she cut it in half. No.
Remember, Shinji was Medusa's first master, and he kind of sucked at it.
Well, technically, Sakura was first, and then they had to do some shenanigans, but yeah. Medusa does not like him a lot.
Yeah. But she was willing to accept Armless Shinji-kun.
Because he's mostly armless.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so second was Ushiwaka.
No, second was Angry. I'm going to look at the list.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top.
Just for the sake of clarity, because I'm also having trouble remembering the exact ones.
So it's Usa and then Angra / Ushiwaka. And this was the one that made me laugh. One of the ones that made me laugh. Apparently the next one was going to be fucking Kets.
That's right, yeah. So it was... so the order is actually, one is first gatekeeper is Anna, second gatekeeper is Dark Saint, third gatekeeper was supposed to be Kets. But we fought Eresh Kigal instead.
Yeah, because apparently, Kets, Eresh Kigal was just like, no, get the fuck out. You have too much divinity. I ain't dealing with this shit.
She was upset and already thrashed her and sent her on her way. Which is why Kets is not a bonus servant in this event. Because she's not technically in it.
Well, I find that interesting because technically Kets, even though Kets is a goddess of Venus, which makes Eresh, what's the word I want to use? A little trigger happy. She's also, isn't Kets also a sun goddess?
Yes. Which might also make Eresh mad. Who knows? But,
who knows?
Well, yeah, we're gonna talk about lucha-nee later.
Yeah. So,
and then fourth is Benkei and Ushiwaka, and fifth was tonight. Was you do not technically fight Merlin, but Mr. Sheep is the one who shows up at that gate.
Yeah, but we can't forget. We skipped the gate. We entirely skipped the gate of Jaguar Man. I was just like, why? The joke is funny as the
the joke is hilarious that we just blitzed right by her.
And you're like, man, I couldn't understand the things she was saying. I was like, no shit, we skipped all the dialogue.
Basically, it was a flash forward that was very funny, but also a little bit sad.
A little bit sad.
And then there's gonna be there's 2 more chapters? Yeah, there's 2 more chapters, because we're at 6, and there's gonna be 7 and 8. I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody, even though I'm looking at the list, but yes.
So, we get to Mr. Sheep, and I'm saying this on stream, I see this guy, and I'm just like, suplex him.
He's very shady.
He's super shady. And he basically drops a bunch of exposition on you.
Well, yeah, he cuts out the middleman, and he's just like, hey, so here's what the fuck is happening, because otherwise you're gonna die. It's all Nergal's fault, and he's waiting right around the corner to ambush you, just BT dubs.
And then you're like, what the fuck?
Then you punch Shadow Nergal, which is Darius. And then you move on. And then Merlin is like, yeah, okay, but you still gotta do something about Eresh Kigal, because technically, even though I said that it's Nergal's fault, she's still the one killing everybody, so you're gonna have to fix that. And then he has his CE thing is very interesting, because he pulls out an Altera-themed CE, the one from last Valentine's, which is, I don't even remember what it's called, but I can look it up, I guess.
Isn't it like actually... It's not... Ah, shit, it was just on the tip of my tongue.
Technically, we did Chocolate Lady's Commotion, right? There was the rerun of that was found... Yeah, because we haven't done Semiramis yet, so it would be the rerun. So, let me see. I'm digging through some pages. Sweet Crystal.
Ah. Yeah, and he basically states that it's a memory of something that could have been.
It's a memory... How do you phrase it? It's a memory... It's a dream that another you had in another time. And here's the text. Copy it.
A memory of a faraway land that shouldn't have been retained. A miracle that's occurred in a far phenomenon. A fleeting vision of my journey across the vast field shines ever within my mind.
Which, if you've played Extella, you know that that's a recurring dream that Altera has, is of her time just riding across open plains.
Yeah. So I said that's right in the story, but like all throughout the story, oh my god, the fucking the Altera fucking Gil Manzai exposition acts are fucking amazing.
Yeah, so apparently Altera and Gil had some time to prep some films for you to watch.
And they're basically giving you some fate lore on, ancient Mesopotamian gods and goddesses. And
yeah, they're
they
basically
function.
telling you the context of these characters' legends in Fate. Like if you've watched some of my recent Wanted videos about characters like Eresh, or even not recent with Ishtar, you've heard the rough sketches of how those legends are recorded in real life, but this is like, here's how they actually happened as far as the Fate characters are concerned, which is nice, because there are different interpretations of some of these events.
Yeah. So the first one was about Nurgle, who was basically like, I'm big dick swinging, fuck the Underworld. And Eresh was all like, oh, hell no.
She sent him a sternly worded letter, and then the dumbass, played by Oz, by the way, a reenactment, waltzed into the Underworld and was completely defeated.
Yep. And had to leave But before he did, took a bunch of authorities over, plagues and pestilences.
Yeah, because here's an important thing to remember about Mesopotamia, which is actually kind of true with their system, is to them, the way to do things was covered by the sacred rules, or May, which were basically written on tablets. So, the instructions to, say, make bread were printed on a clay tablet, and their gods and god kings and all that had many of these Mays, many of these sacred instructions to do things. So, translated into Gnostiverse terms, Nergal gathered a bunch of authorities, gathered a bunch of texts on diseases and sickness and stuff to him, and went to war, basically.
And completely lost. And so Eresh was like, alright, you can leave, but you have to leave half your authority.
And you must remain here 6 months out of the year as penance.
Yep.
Then, like we alluded to earlier, then scumbag Nergal is like, okay, I shall leave you with my authority over diseases and stuff. Bye. Because what Eresh wanted was, she wanted the power of the sun to make it so that there could be a sun in the Underworld, because it's very cold and dark down there.
But nope. Pulled the fucking con. Second story, which I found also hilarious, because Altera goes into full flight attendant mode, and it's great. Oh my god. If someone is not drawing flight attendant Altera right now, I'm gonna be sad. I'm gonna be real sad. That means I'm gonna have to do it myself. That's gonna be horrible. But the second one is about Ishtar's husband. How do I pronounce it? Doomzed?
Yeah, Doomzed. Altera fails at pronouncing it as Doomzed, so I assume it's Doomzed. Doomzed.
But here's I was also dying, because when they first introduced it, they introduced David as Doomzed. I'm all like, this is completely fucking on point.
Yeah, and it's a reenactment, and they use Ketz as Ishtar.
And that was the second point. I'm like, why?
Well, it's so that they could do the funny thing later when they're like, actual footage, and actual Ishtar screams in. So in case you guys didn't know, in some tellings, Ishtar was married to Doomzed, and Gil actually explains this very interestingly, that he started as a mortal. He was the king of Uruk before Gil, I think he said.
I think so.
Yeah, he was between the reigns of somebody and Gil, so he would have been before him. And he ascended to godhood by, he was the king of Uruk, I should say. He ascended to godhood by gaining authorities, because that was just a thing you could do in this time. You could just pick up some authorities, and he had authorities over harvest time and sheep and so on, animals and whatnot. And so he wanted to challenge Ishtar as patron deity of Uruk, but Ishtar is the queen of heaven and has a shitload of authority, so they couldn't fight, so instead they kind of allied and they had a marriage, but it wasn't like a loving thing, it was just a political marriage, basically. Yeah. Which would have happened a lot in those times anyway.
You gotta remember, Ishtar was constantly horny on Maine.
Yes. So they didn't really have like a deeply loving relationship or anything, as especially shown by the end of this, where they use the interpretation where, so Ishtar's in the underworld, she's a goddess of fertility and harvest and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's real bad when she's dead and stuck in the underworld. Big boy Enki revives her with the waters of life and tricks Eresh out of letting her go, so Ishtar escapes, but Eresh is like, no, this will not stand. You're throwing the cosmic balance out of whack, so I need to trade a soul for a soul. And she sends her Galu spirits, her demons, basically, up there to get somebody back. So, Ishtar's on the lam from the demons and pops into Uruk, and what does she see? Fucking Doomsy is throwing a parade as his quote-unquote funeral. Yes, it's terrible. Ishtar is dead, so everybody celebrate me. And of course, being Ishtar, she very mad. Very, very mad.
Honestly, I would be too.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Gil makes sure to mention that Ishtar is not a complete scumbag. It's like, she didn't want to trick anybody into taking her place, and she didn't want to offer any of her followers. You know, she's not so scummy as to send a human in her place who is devoted to her.
Yeah.
Also, interestingly enough, the English text actually uses the phrase sacred prostitutes, which was a thing, but it's interesting they went there. That feels like the kind of thing somebody would have softballed, but okay, good. You kept it real.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, but I was saying, like, that was the thing. That was a real thing. Like, it's like, it's literally something that's integral to fucking Kiru's story. Fuck.
Yes. But yeah, but when her husband is being a bit of a scumbag, it's like, okay, take that guy.
Yeah.
And so he gets hauled off to the underworld, and he does many things, like transforms into a snake and a gazelle and stuff to try and escape, but he gets caught, and eventually he goes down.
I'm dying because while they did that scene with actual Ishtar, in the corner, right above the text box, just actual footage was flashing. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. But then Doomsday gets out because his sister comes down to the underworld, and she's like, oh, mighty Eresh Kigal, I have heard you will keep the balance, take a life for a life. Please let my brother go. I'll take his place. And Eresh is like, all right, we'll be squaresies. One of you come down here 6 months out of the year, which I assume is probably why there's, only a growing season like half the year kind of thing. That's often what these myths are for, is to explain natural phenomena. But she's like, but you gotta give me half your authority. And so what does Doomsday do? But he's like, okay, cool, I'll give you the authority I picked up over snakes and gazelles and stuff when I was transforming. Bye!
Poor girl. And I go, yeah, poor girl. Yeah, so this is probably, like, with Nurgle and fucking Doomsday, this is probably how they explain, like, winter and crop growing season and all that stuff.
And with Nurgle also, one, it's interesting to note that this version, they are not technically married, it's just he gave half of his power to her. Because there are versions of the myth where they are considered to be married, either as Nurgle takes over the underworld, or just Nurgle does a dumb and falls for Eresh Kigal's seductions and has to stay in the underworld, because Enki told him, don't eat anything, don't drink anything, and definitely do not fuck Eresh Kigal. And what does he do? He fucks her, and then he has to stay. But yeah, so that, obviously for waifu reasons, they wrote that out so Eresh can be an even more perfect shy goth princess. Though they don't shy away from the fact that Ishtar totally had a husband. He was just a complete dickhead, so nobody feels bad. That said, like I said, that myth about Nurgle there were multiple interpretations, and that was probably a way that competing groups or faiths resolved who the god of the underworld was, basically. Because, you got these guys over here who's like, well, Eresh Kigal's in charge of the underworld, and then these other guys over here, no, Nurgle is. And then they're like, what if there was a reason? But yeah, so we will presumably continue to see more stuff out of Eresh and her flashbacks and whatnot as we go on.
Okay, this Hydra is bullshit, by the way.
Hydras are bullshit. What is that, the Archer one?
Yeah. Like, it literally just took out my old... it just literally took out all my lancers from half health. I'm like, why did you crit 3 times in a fucking woe with your all attacks? Fuck you.
Yeah, they do that.
Like, excuse me.
So I'll say that's probably a waifuism in Japan thing, because they, as a overall culture, we're going to talk about how shitty Japan can be online later, unfortunately, when we talk about Babylonia for reasons. But that's a really weird thing about the really hardcore otaku culture, is the idea that I think our resident brain doctor Dallas phrases it as the Madonna whore complex, which is kind of what it is, where it's just like all women are either perfect virginal pure princesses or they're sluts, basically. So if you cross that line in otaku culture, that's not good, because that's not socially desirable. Which go ahead.
Yeah, like, you actually hear about this, like, with, like, idol culture and whatnot, how they're restricted from dating and,
idols and voice
whatnot.
actors just have to be careful about, like, dating and marriage announcements. And sometimes that goes for dudes, too. Like, you have to be careful about letting people know you're in a relationship, because that affects the mystique, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it would, in this case, I think, in some levels, the Fate audience can be expected to be a little bit more mature about some stuff, because they can say that Ishtar she was married, but it wasn't a real marriage, because one, that doesn't make anybody feel weird. There's no awkward NTR stuff, and then also it's not a real marriage. It's fine. But with Eresh, it would be, the original story would probably be a little too sex positive for otaku. Whereas over here, in the West, while not perfect, we still have our own fair share of sex hangups. We're a little bit better about the like prior relationship level,
Yeah.
Like, it's, I think a lot of us, especially us awkward social nerds, can be, well, some of us anyway, can be a lot more understanding about just real life stuff. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on that. So farming and stuff. I mentioned earlier, I'm working on box 6 right now. Lucky just started, so he's probably not that far. Have you even been rolling the lotto yet?
No, not yet.
Okay.
As I said, right now I'm just trying to get, like, the first clear done for all the exposed maps, and then I actually got to look up to see which nodes are good for what.
Yes, and on the one hand, you're lucking out, because now that you're starting later, you're gonna end up with all the best nodes unlocked, because right now I think only the best node for bronze and silver currencies are open.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe gold? I don't know.
I'm not too worried about it, because I still got to get my fucking Merry Sheeps all out anyway.
Yeah.
So
I've also got all those, but I don't have a seed drop yet.
So I got to work on that. And as I said, like, my goal overall is to get about maybe, I don't know, like 15 boxes. Like, about that's what
I might have an interruption to my farming. So my goal is basically, which I've hit, my initial basic goal is to make sure I can get Altera when that opens, and I can, because I've got enough wreaths for all the spare copies. I've got all the Ascension mats. I've got the ticket to get the first real copy, so that's good. And then after that, it's like, can I please, for the love of God, finish leveling Eresh? Yeah, and then hopefully I have enough time to level all these other fucking new servants I have.
Yeah, because I only have 2 million QP right now. That's it.
I believe somebody in chat said that it was 5 million per box.
Yeah.
That's still not a lot, but it's a thing.
It's a thing. That means 4 boxes, and I can finally get Tama Lancer's final skill to 10. Wait, no. No, I'm going to need more than that, because I'm stuck on the last gold skill gem thing for her. So that's what? Skill 7? So that still means I need to do 8, 9, 10. That means, what was it, 10, 15, 20? Maybe 25, 45.
That's it. You'll get plenty of the skill cookies you need, because there's, like, I think a couple gold ones in every box for each class.
Well, I think it's like 2 blue, 2 red, 1 gold, I think.
I'll check in a second. I'm in the middle of farming. Because interestingly, I'm doing, I'm, like I said, mostly focused on the lotto. I've got all my bronze currency out, got all the stakes in the store and stuff. And so, ironically, or maybe not ironically, but interestingly enough, I can do the Berserker node the best. I'm running Ishtar Merlin support Eresh right now, and that...
What the fuck is this?
Usually does the business in under 10 turns. Because I'm using all bonus CEs and a lot of bonus servants, so I'm getting a shitload of currency out of this, and I don't mind taking 10-ish turns. My only one hang-up is sometimes I forget to do my buffs right. Goddamn Mana Burst gems. That 1-turn delay is so confuzzling sometimes. What?
Yeah, I know. That's why I had to post it.
Yeah, you did. I was like, what? What is this in reference to? I don't know. It's a funny art. Follow us on Twitter. We retweet things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's overall Christmas impressions. Story good, very fluff, very fun, but also very sad. And
all right, now I need people to check out. Now I need people to check out this Magic Goose. This Magic Goose is amazing.
Oh yeah, I'll risk an MP. I'll have Eresh power skills and try and work on this Big Daddy. But yeah, so I'll probably have to put my phone down for a second, because if we're done with Christmas-oo stuff.
Hang on, I hear some like weird music from outside, so let me go check something real quick, but keep talking.
Alright, well, the thing I was going to say was that it's probably time to get into new servant details and talk about some new units. So this is a lot of me talking. I'm going to take a deep breath first, by which I mean I'm going to yawn.
I'm back.
Because it's professional sleep time, and we're over
It is always It is professional sleep time.
Well, that was another joke I did the other day. It was like, lucky form of depression, me form of anxiety. Together we are professional sleep boys. But your servants.
By our powers combined, we are tired.
Super Orion. So he's a male SSR, so of course he's limited. I don't know what's worse, limited waifus or limited dudes. And
I would say that, honestly, I'd say limited dudes, because apparently limited dudes are more rare.
And technically he's single target, but more about that to boot. So right now his attack is the highest of archers, with pretty decent HP to boot. And he has that famed gorilla deck, quick arts, buster. All you need is buster. And his NP gen is naturally high, given his standard hit counts and limited card selection. So it's about 0.9 something, and he's got, 1 3-hit quick card, 1 3-hit arts card, and his busters are only 1 hit, so not generating a lot of NP all the time. Hopefully you get some good cards. How's his NP, you ask? Well, it's an arts self-buff. So, this gives him attack up, pierce, invulnerable, debuff immunity, 10 stars per turn, and a crit plus for 3 turns. The attack up is based on NP level and is minimum of 30%, which for 3 turns is pretty good. And the crit is on his overcharge and minimum 100%, which again is good for 3 turns. With Stargen, too. So basically, with this buff, his face cards are his NP. You will be doing some pretty impressive slaps with Buster cards. But wait, there's more. His first skill is Strong Arm B. This is a mana burst, which also gives him 30 to 50% trait damage versus beast or demonic enemies, so that's 50% at max level. Buster up and then 50% extra damage. So that's only 1 turn, but boy howdy will that hurt. That trait damage is going to be really good against bosses. Pressure of the Moon Goddess gives him 3 turns of 1 to 3k guts. It gives him another 10 to 20% attack, and a flat amount of 10 to 20 crit stars, just in case you need to crit right now. And then his final skill is Bowman of 3 stars, which may or may not get translated as Bowman of Orion's Belt, because apparently they use the Chinese name for Orion's Belt, which is 3 stars. But that improves his star weight for 3 turns and has another buff, which, if I'm understanding it correctly, before you use a Buster card, it will give you 50 to 100% crit strength, again, for 1 turn for 3 times. Which I assume that means that if you use all 3 of his Buster cards in a row, that's like 50... 50 would go to 150 or max level. That goes up to 300% on that last Buster card. I think that's how that works, but I'm not sure. If somebody has more details who's actively playing JP and understands how it works, let me know. Oh yeah, and he has Independent Action EX for even more crit bonus as a passive. He also has Blessings of Poseidon, which is Divinity, so it's damage up, damage plus, but also as a max damage cut, so it's like 175 both ways, which is an interesting construction. Also, in fluff, it lets him walk on water.
Neat.
But, of course, being quite so Chad, he has a special demerit to, keep him balanced. And he takes 20% more damage from poison because of that thing with Scorpio. So, yeah. If you're fighting him versus bosses that do a lot of poison, whether it's passive or not, watch out. He'll take a little bit extra damage, which could be helpful. And if he's ever a boss, if you want to do poison memes, you can. So basically, Super Orion is a crit monster. He works well with the likes of Merlin, and most of his crucial buffs lasts a couple of turns, but he's going to need to use his support to use his NP, let alone stack his NP buffs. And still, he's only at his most powerful on a single burst turn, which is ideally a Buster Brave Chain, but that turn will hurt a lot. Like, I've seen people claiming he is hitting, like 100k on a Buster crit card.
Oh, jeez.
So, like, if you get his perfect hand, and you drop all his skills, and you have, done his NP beforehand and all that, it's gonna slap pretty hard, but there's always that issue of, like, you have to manage all these servants and, like, make sure you get the right card deck and all that. And so supports like Summer BB, like, Summer Bunny Artoria, who can shuffle as a skill, that kind of stuff may be helpful. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he's really, really strong, but he's a little finicky, so doing all that, it's, sometimes you can feel like false advertising when people are like, oh, the max damage on the servant is crazy good, if you have all their buffs up on the right turn and do their NP and have all the cards you need. That doesn't always happen, so be aware if you happen to get a Super Orion and are using him. Now, we also have another new SSR. We have Rider Europa, and she is permanent, as far as I can tell. The first new SSR Rider who is permanent since Achilles. Her attack is middle of the road, and her HP is somewhat low. It's, I think, the lowest right now out of SSR Riders. But she's got a quick Arts Buster deck, average hit counts and NP gain, but her HP probably won't be too much of a problem because her NP summons the giant robot Talos, who rises up like Big O and punches the enemy for a Buster AoE. That's right, his fist is so huge that it's AoE. But it also, buffs her Buster performance beforehand for 1 turn for 20%, so you can Buster Brave Chain with the NP. And also it gives her a 50% defense up for that turn, which is flat. Every time she uses her NP, she gets 50% defense up for the rest of the turn. So, yeah, that lower HP will probably not be a problem if you're having incoming damage. And then her first skill gives her 3 hits of invincibility and 3 times of increased debuff resistance, 50 to 100%. So it's basically like Mary's invincibility skill, but slightly better. Her second skill gives her 3 turns of 20% to 30% Arts and Buster up, so a split color card buff. But is also an up to 30% NP battery, so you can use it to charge up and be ready for a few turns to spam some cards. And her final skill has a 60% chance to stun Charm, basically, for 1 turn. Does 10 to 20% lower defense and crit rate for 3 turns on all enemies. So that's Charm for 1 turn, and then defense down. Her passives are Magic Resistance, Writing A, and Divinity C. So, with Europa's deck and self-buffs, she can combo pretty well with other Buster Servants while also managing her own survivability with stuns and invul. The fact that she's got an Arts buff, though, she can also probably charge her NP pretty decently, because she's got, middle-of-the-road hit counts and NP gain, and then you can do a 30% Arts buff for 3 turns, and she's got 2 cards, Mm-hmm. Hopefully you can get her in some Arts chains or some AAQs or something. So, all in all, it's a pretty decent... her battery's not as huge as, Drake's, so she's probably not, the perfect farming machine, but she's gonna be pretty good at that. And like I said, she has some survivability for more challenging, fights. Also, fun fact, I double-checked this, I believe, unless I'm mistaken, her VA is the same as Narmaya from Grand Blue Fantasy.
Oh, Mao?
Yeah.
Oh! Lovely,
yeah,
I want her.
VA. Yeah,
I fucking love Mao voice.
She's cool and fluff. And she has a bull, but also a giant robot.
So she is on the... When I heard that, Europa might be a server, I knew the fucking Divine Bull, she'd be a rider because of the Divine Bull.
Yep. That's her primary method of attack, and that's what her third skill is. Interestingly enough, the Charm and Defense down is the Sacred White Bull. But then her NP is Talos, which is the giant bronze guardian that Zeus gave her, which is hilarious. I can't wait for Europa's lines to be translated, because she's gotta have some lines for Medea, because Medea killed the bronze giant Talos. Either she shot I-beams at it until he died, or she pulled out his nail. And he died. So lastly, let's talk about Mandricardo. He's from an Italian opera, so I can roll my R's. Arr. So he's the Lostbelt Rider. I think we have seen all of them now. We've confirmed all of the Lostbelt CM servants. Mm-hmm. He's a new 3-star one. If you don't know who he is, that's the point. He's apparently got a complex about that. He is an obscure character from Orlando Furioso and Orlando Iramato, those Italian operas based on the Song of Roland and so on. So if you don't know his backstory, basically, Roland, or Orlando, so we'd call him Roland, killed Mandricardo's dad and took the Durandal, and so Mandricardo has sworn an oath he will use no sword until he recovers Durandal, which is why he has a wooden stick.
I know we were making guesses back when it first came off, but I definitely know it was not this dude.
No, he's so obscure, Mandricardo doesn't even have an English Wikipedia entry. He has one in Italian, but not in English.
Wow.
So yeah, he is pretty obscure, but like I said, I think that's the point. Also, I think he, out of our paladins and friends, he is the lowest tiered rarity. He's below Astolfo and Bradamante, and would presumably be below Roland and Charlemagne.
Well, I'm glad they're bringing in more paladins, I guess.
Yeah, or paladin adjacent, because...
Paladin adjacent, yeah.
But still, he's connected to the story. And also, he's connected to Hector, because he's got all of Hector's other old shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he used to have the Durandal or the Durandiana when it was a spear, which was Hector's, and then he's got like some other shit Hector owned, like a shield and some armor and stuff, I think is the point. So it's that's a cool little relationship there. So, he's got quick arts buster deck. His hit counts are a bit low, so his NP gain is a bit higher to compensate. He's got moderate attack, high HP, so that's kind of the niche he fills in the 3-star gap. So, he has a single target Arts Noble Phantasm, which gives him a 20% buff to all cards first, but after it lands, he reduces his own attack by 10% for 1 turn after. Basically, he's got a Noble Phantasm a bit like Knight of Owner or the Strange Fake Sabers, where any weapon he picks up can be Durandal, but it doesn't have Durandal's durability, so it tends to shatter after he uses it. But still, pretty neat effect. Makes me very, very interested, because I would have told you that that naturally, because it's a big AoE blast, Roland would be AoE Buster, but now there's another Durandal attack that's... Well, I mean, I guess Hector's is AoE Buster, but now Mandracardo's got single target arts, so I don't know. Could be interesting. It'll probably not... Well, actually, I don't know. They could make that a theme, because both Saber Astolfo and Bradamante are quick. So I don't know. They could make that a theme, or they could not. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully Roland gets in. He has a fucking story sprite.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, he's in one of Astolfo's interludes.
Oh.
He shows up. He's got a little sprite. That was a while ago, so I don't know what his final art is, but yeah. We also know we've known what the Durandal looks like for a long time. It's basically the sword that's on all the charisma icons is Durandal.
Oh, really?
Yes. Where was I? Oh, his skills. So his first skill is a pretty general one. It gives just him a 20 to 30% defense buff and a 10 to 20% attack buff. The second skill is where we start getting a little weird, so follow me on this. For 1 turn, he gets 30 to 50% attack and 50 to 100% crit damage, and 1 hit of an attack, so basically his next attack he does, will remove defensive buffs, which is pretty good. But you can only use it if you're at 50% HP or below, and the next attack he lands kills him, and this is a buff so you can't get rid of it or block it.
That's weird.
So, basically, if he pops this skill, he's got to be wounded, and he will kill himself, but he will do a very big hit that will clear the way for some follow-up. And his final skill is a 1-turn taunt, so he's a taunter, which is interesting. But also gives him 3 turns of 10 to 20% quick and arts buff, so he's kind of, dual card quick arts. And I believe it's called, like, the neigh of his, whatever the name of his horse is. That's why he's a rider. He also has a horse, which he uses in his NP in some animations. So that's fun. And his passives are pretty typical. He's got magic resistance C and riding B. A fun little niche. Magikardo can slap kind of hard, but he has a lot of risks to his skills. And maybe you can use him to tank until his HP is low enough to activate his ultimate attack, which paves the way for allies by hitting hard and stripping buffs. I don't know how his buff interacts with his NP card. That's kind of wasting the crit buff, but still, you could probably use that to do a really big hitting NP, or you could just use it to crit big because he is a rider and will absorb lots of crits. So he's got a very, very interesting move. And removing defensive buffs specifically, there's only a couple who do that. Chiron's NP does that, and I think there's 1 or 2 others, but yeah, it's a fairly interesting niche, and keep in mind he's free. He's a 3-star servant, so he's in the FP gacha. Obviously, from my own experience, hi NP2 Hosuin. Oh, actually, I should mention that wasn't in my my records from the throne, but I did in fact get a second Hosuin in there somewhere.
Booyah!
So NP2 now, yay! I just have to keep rolling until there's enough of him come home. Anyway,
Get there eventually.
I'll get there eventually. I've got there eventually with everybody who's not story locked. Though somehow my coup caster is NP4. Not sure how I swung that one.
Oh, no.
But yeah, so he's a permanent 3-star, so hopefully you'll start getting him. He'll start showing up in all those roles you do. Whenever you would get another Boudica or another Medusa you don't need, or who are some other 3-star writers? Who am I always kind of disappointed to see?
Boudica, Medusa, Alexander?
Yeah, Alexander's another one. It's just like, oh hey, I already got 5 of you, so Mandracardo can join that team and maybe round those out a little. And in the terms of 3-star units, you'll notice Boudica is technically arts, but she's a buff, so like Medusa and Alexander are both quick, so actually, while I'm thinking about it, let me check out NPs for writers to see where that all fits in, because Buster AoE is not anything new in terms of Europa, but let me look at arts. Because, yeah, okay, so Mandracardo is the first new non-limited arts writer in a while, because it's George, Boudica, writer Mordred, Sakamoto Ryoma, one of our upcoming welfares, Sima Yi, aka Renez, who's limited 5-star, and Da Vinci Writer, limited 5-star. So, Magic Cardo is the only offensive arts writer who's free to play, other than the welfare, who, if you've missed him, you're fucked for now. So yes, that's a very good niche that they've added, and he does interesting stuff. I like it when they, speaking of Hozuin, for instance, he's got very interesting mechanics we've talked about with, his self-buff MP and all that, so I think it's neat. This was the same way with the Bronzes, when they summon up these lower rarity units who have interesting mechanics, so I'll be, somebody's already made the Suicide Squad joke of Eresh, Mandracardo, and Chengong. No, by the way, well, if Chengong's the only one left, he'll blow himself up, but he doesn't have to blow himself up. But yeah, so it's interesting that they got some fun stuff going on there. All right, we're at about an hour and a half. But this, like I said, this is the plan for this to be the last show of the year, so let's go big.
Yeah.
It's time for Teach Me Omega Sensei.
Yay!
Luckily, this one will be shorter, but it will hopefully be informative, and I can expound on this if needed. So, without any need for Lucky to rule break, to tie break, the FGO Timeline 1. So, we're going to talk about that. And really briefly, this is going to be a bit general. We're not going to go into, super deep minutiae of, when this exactly happened, but we're going to cover the rough outline of events in FGO in order. I've thrown in some lore stuff, I've expanded on some points. Some of these you can find just by looking on the FGO website, but other ones are not necessarily comprehensive, so I've collected a few data. I should also warn everybody, I'm trying to use N8 dates, but sometimes there are not specific notes, so assume a couple of years of flex time in this. Remember that JP events are technically 2 years further back in the past because they started keeping time earlier. They started in 2015, and humanity was destroyed by 2017, for instance, as opposed to us, 2017 destroyed by 2019, etc. So, way back in the beginning, starting all of the shenanigans, why we're here, roughly 1000 BCE, Solomon dies, and he leaves his work to his creation, Getia, who is super jaded and sets about his plan, the Grand Order, to incinerate all human history and recreate the world. So yes, that's why he's a little pissed off when just you stop him after 3,000 years of hard work. Yeah, he was working on this one a while. So that's about the time that he, infiltrated all those mage bloodlines and set everything up so his demon pillars would appear and whatnot. Now, the earliest, as far as I know anyway, the earliest actual lore event to occur is that the phenomenon recording Cyber Daemon Laplace was created in 1950, the famous thought experiment, and that's kind of one of the machines that Chaldea uses. In 1990, the completion of the global environment model Chaldeus was completed. That's our big globe thing. So that's the thing that is monitoring the world in real time and shows us things, locates things. So I did the math on this, but approximately 1993, Olga Mary Anmusir is born. That's because in case files she is 11, so if that was roughly around 04 for reasons, then naturally you go back, she would have been born about 93. Which means that she's about as old as I am, which is a little weird. Dear Delightworks, please bring the director back. What was that? What? Somebody say something? Also very interesting if that's true, in AD 1999, the Near Future Observation Lens Shiba was completed by Lev Laner. Olga Mary claims to have helped him complete that, but she would have been 8, so I don't know if that's just she's a fucking genius, or she was making shit up. I don't know. Maybe she helped him install it later, because Chaldea wasn't formed for another couple of years. So we get to a big date, AD 2004. And I say this because we don't really know when other Grail Wars took place in FGO's timeline. They probably took place whenever they took place normally, so there would have been a fourth one in... Holy Grail War 5 was 10 years after 4, right? So there probably would have been one around 94, but we don't know. Because the only canonical Grail War we know about is in 04, Marsbury Animasphere won at Infuyuki and wishes for the wealth and prestige to fund the Chaldea Security Organization. This is also when the heroic spirit summoning system, Fate, is completed, because that's when he actually learned about the system.
Yeah. Now, this is one of those interesting points for me, because the fact that he was actually able to use the Holy Grail...
Right. This was a point we talked about when Case Files came out.
Yeah.
Because the case files timeline is at least contiguous with one version of a timeline from Fate Zero.
Yeah.
Which means the Grail is corrupt as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm going to talk a lot anyway, so talk about this.
Yeah, take a break. So, for those not in the know, basically, I can't remember, was it like the third Holy Grail War?
Yes, it's the third one. The third one is where shit goes wrong, because that's where in Apocrypha, they summoned Amakusa, and Darnik stole the Grail with the help of Nazis.
Yeah, but that's the Apocrypha timeline. In our regular Fate timeline, they summon Avenger, which corrupts the Grail. In case files, it stated that Marisbury looked at the fucking Grail and is all like, "No, I don't want anything to fucking do with this," implying that he didn't want the corrupted Grail. In the FGO timeline, he won it, which means the Grail was never corrupted. Which means we don't actually have details of what happened in the past Holy Grail Wars, but this means that the Einsburn didn't summon a ruler or an Avenger.
Right, because it wasn't misplaced because the war was in Fuyuki, but also he got his wish and nothing evil happened.
Yeah, so this means that, if we're talking about a time of divergence, whatever happens in the third Grail War is basically the divergence point for all these different timelines.
Yeah, that would be a really interesting story if they ever wanted to go and discuss that, because I bet the Einsburns were still fuckers and tried to summon an extra class. But they did not summon Ruler, Amakusa, or Avenger Angermenu, so that's a major fork in our timeline.
What if they summon a foreigner and this is why we're dealing with the fucking Lostbelts?
Yeah, well, we'll see. Some weird fucking shit going on. We'll see. Nasu would do that. I joked about this that Nasu's the kind of person with the way Atlantis is set up, because that point the Lostbelts are not. I haven't actually broke them down in this because they're not happening yet. But the Lostbelts have a date, much like Singularities do, but that date is where their timeline diverged. Technically, we're still attacking Lostbelts in the present, but the divergence point for Atlantis was 12,000 years ago, or 12,000 BC, which, hey, if you've played Extella, is big deal, because that's when Big Lady Sephar Altera came down and wrecked all the gods' shit. So Atlantis is obviously tied to that, and there's a lot of stuff about space and coming down and destroying us, and I'm some people have some thoughts about maybe some future contingencies, maybe they could make Salem plot relevant again, but I'm just wondering, is Natsu gonna bust out haha, suckers, you thought Extella was nothing? Fuck you. It mattered. It was important the whole time. That is totally a Nasu move to, fold something back into the canon, with Primate Murder, right? To just fold something that you thought was just a nothing detail back in and be like, oh, fuck, what? What? So, yeah. I don't know. We'll see with future stuff, but that's just something that funnily occurred to me and some of the other people the other day, because that's how he do sometimes. Yeah. So,
I guess...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so, I am hoping that it comes, but... I just do think it's really interesting. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about the FGO timeline, just because of how the FGO, not just FGO timelines, just the Fate timelines work in general.
Yeah, there are a lot of obvious fork points.
Yeah.
With 04 being one of them.
Yeah.
And Third Grail Roar and Fourth and all that. I think we can be reasonably sure that our waiver, whose fuse was Zhang-Liu, is from at least the Zero timeline, because we had the Zero collab and he remembered all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he also talks about dismantling the Grail War with Rin, so presumably he went through to the main FSN timeline. So he's hopefully core timeline waiver. But other than that, we don't really have a lot of details about who's from where and what happened.
Yeah.
Because we're fucking about in time-space.
Time and space, how even?
So, here's another big thing. Even though he got his funding, and he completed this Heroic Spirit summoning system, nothing fucking happens for 8 years. In AD 2012, the Demi-Servant experiments occur, and Mash is bonded with Galahad, the second servant ever summoned by Chaldea, because Dr. Romani is still around. Da Vinci is also summoned in this time, and this is also when Marsbury is killed / commits suicide in his office, because I don't remember exactly how that worked. I think Sherlock gave us some exposition about that. He talked to us about a lot of shit, okay? But there was some exposition about Marsbury in there. And then this is when Olga Mary became the director, about 5 years before the game starts for us. So, by the way, if you're following in JP timeline, technically this event should be 2010. And I don't know if they would have actually moved the Grail War or not. They hopefully didn't, because that's like a thing that's anchored to other stuff, but who knows. I still said 04 in here because that's the traditional date.
Yeah.
And then in 2017, so we complete the Spiritron calculation engine Trimegistus, which is necessary for ray shifting. So there's a lot of R&D involved in Kalia getting built, because, we gotta go from, okay, we can summon heroic spirits to, okay, we can, observe the past, okay, we can actually go to different timelines.
I do appreciate that they actually put time in, because R&D is not something that gets just done in a snap. It takes a long time, a lot of testing and theorizing, and slow application of theories.
Yeah, so, they completed the heroic spirit summoning system in 04. They didn't get around to actually summoning any servants, like I said, for, 8 years. And they only really got 3. Well, they got 2 out of the summoning, because he'd already summoned Romani as part of the normal thing. So, in 2017 is when, at least in NA, Shiba observes the Fuyuki singularity, and the whole future of humanity has disappeared by 2019, and thus Fate Grand Order begins. So we're sent out on the Grand Order. Then in 2018, the Grand Order is completed, the incineration of humanity is stopped, our protagonist promoted to Cause, the lowest rank in the Mages Association, but at least a real rank.
I'm sorry, I just need a shirt to, it's I just saved humanity, and all I got was this lousy rank, and just put on a fucking...
Put on a little special symbol.
Yeah.
That would be pretty funny.
That'd be pretty funny.
Get on that merch. But also, Chaldea is told to suspend operations because everybody wants to know what the fuck happened with that missing year and a half, whatever. Because in case if you don't recall, that was the thing, is everybody woke up on the day before 2019 in 2018 and was like, what were we doing? What happened? And just everybody was okay, everybody was alive, but nobody remembers what happened that year because that year didn't exist. Except for us.
Yeah. Actually the world was in utter chaos, because Axe asked, did all that time just suddenly jump?
I believe that is how people experienced it.
Yeah, basically, one moment they're enjoying, midsummer, and next moment it's fucking end of the year, and people are just like, what?
And that's why Chaldea had to suspend operations, because both the UN and the Mage Association was like, okay, you're gonna have to explain this to me, because what the fuck?
Yeah.
So in 2019, the Remnant Order occurs. We've completed those. That's when we had to wrap up the leftovers from our Grand Order. During this time, Da Vinci is temporarily promoted to Director.
I do find that interesting that a servant was promoted to Director.
Yeah, it is a little weird, but I guess once retroactively we established that the previous Director was technically a servant, it was okay.
Whoa! Well, we can only say that because the previous Director before that got blown up in a bomb.
True. The Directors have bad... actually, fuck, I think nothing good has ever happened to a Chaldea Director.
One got shot in the office, one got thrown into a sun, one had to sacrifice himself for humanity, and Da Vinci.
Yes. And at the very least, everybody knows, because she's a unit now, Da Vinci may have had a body hop in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Though also, technically, that's after she stops being Director and gets demoted, because we get a new Director, and it's the son of the fat guy from Apocrypha, but more on him later. We'll meet him soon. He at least is kind of a scrub lord.
Yeah, because, from what I understood, the main, mages who treat servants like, actual people seems to actually be the minority in...
Well, yeah, to most of them, they are familiars. It's just, you just summoned a familiar and conjured it. It's fine. They're just a record. It's okay.
So to actually, now that I think about it, to actually put one, for the Mage Association to put one, all right, you're temporarily in charge, I'm like, wow.
Well, she was already head of the tech department, so maybe Marsbury did some work before that to set it up, so it's just no, seriously, this is fucking Leonardo da Vinci, don't you fuck with me. Do you know how much money I have? Also, that's interesting you brought that up, because that's another thing. I don't know the date, but at some point, Olga Mary was brought to Chaldea originally to be a master candidate, and she has no master compatibility whatsoever. She could not summon a single servant, which is very interesting. And then at some point she becomes the Director. Also, there's another thing is, like, I don't know the exact dates, but somewhere in there, like, for instance, well, this might be relevant because I don't know if it's related to an event we know happens in other timelines, but, the director bought a surplus nuclear reactor somewhere, and that's powering Chaldea. He bought it from France, I think. I don't know what year that was. And at some point, he starts the Seraphix platform, but I don't know what year that was. Just that it happened. And I think, speaking of stuff that just happened, I don't know, I believe Lucky may be in the Ghost Zone. Okay, Lucky came back from the Abyss of the Sea, but I was just saying that I have no idea when the director bought or set up Seraphix, for instance, the oil platform. I just know that it happened in the past. But so 2020 should be our canonical date when Lostbelt stuff happens. And so we'll have to see all that interesting stuff, work that out. That'll be fun. And so this should be most of the basic major background events of when various bits and bobs happened. Obviously, like I said, there are some events we just don't know the date of, but they happened in the past. By the way, I mentioned the nuclear reactor because, at least in the Unlimited Bleedworks anime, they showed that that's where Shiro was a dumbass and contracted the world, was he needed magical power to stop a nuclear reactor meltdown. And I'm like, this is Nasu. That can't be a coincidence that they made sure to write a lore note somewhere that Chaldea bought a nuclear reactor, right? I don't know. There's a lot of little touches that just things could be.
Well, like, as I said, like, that was definitely future Shiro, so...
But also, here's the important thing to remember. Fate's Day Night happens in 04.
Oh, that's true.
By the time, it's like 10 years later by the time FGO starts. So, Shiro, Rin, and Sakura would all be in their mid-20s, as we see in some of their major starting CEs.
That's true.
I'm kind of sad that they keep fucking with the timeline so we can't ever see what's going on in the present, because I would love to actually see what future, because we're pretty far in the forward of the timeline. We're not like extra far forward, but we're far forward in the timeline. I would love to see what current Waver, Rin, Shiro, etc. are doing,
Yeah, but as again, like, here's the thing though. We're not, like, we can't be sure that those characters participated in the Grail War.
Right, we can't be sure those characters did anything.
Yeah. Like, as I said, because, fucking, like, just by the fact that, Solomon was summoned as caster, that automatically means that Medea is removed. And when Medea is removed, that, like, removes, like, the fainting cases and... Right. Like, other things, so...
Well,
like,
and also, if the Grail wasn't corrupted, there would be no Fuyuki Fire.
Yeah, there'd be no Fuyuki Fire. Actually, the fucking... And not to mention, I think the fucking, I can't think of fucking Shinji's family name.
The Matos.
The Matos. I don't know, like, what had happened with them, because, they worked on it, and, the whole corruption thing, got to them as well.
Sawamoto probably fucked his shit up.
He probably, like, yeah, so it's like... oh yeah, and if there's no Gyro corruption, like, let's think about the events in fucking Zero.
Right, that would have been wildly different.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't even know if, like...
Gil wouldn't have been incarnated at the end of Grail War 4, so there probably was no Gil around when in Solomon's Grail War. A lot of interesting things. That would be a cool, like, light novel to maybe manga or anime series, just to actually describe how Marsbury and Solomon won the war. Like, that would be a cool little mini-series, Not too long, not too short, maybe like 12 episodes, 12, 13, or however many light novel volumes you want to fill up there, and just go to it, and just show some weird alternate characters and some stuff that happened. Did Lucky ghost again? He did, didn't he? Let me unpause. We were just discussing while Lucky was gone, how cool it would be to have, like, a prequel series, effectively because of the time gap, a Zero to FGO, and, like, explore that war.
Well, even if it wasn't a full series, like, a series of events of, like, who was actually summoned in the, like, from, like, I would at least like a list of masters and servants from the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and maybe the events that went through there. Because, like, the more I think about, like, the time-wise, there's a lot of weird setup here that, like, there's a big gray area of things that happen to get this to where we are.
And we can kind of assume that the large gap between 04 to 2012 is because Marsbury had to buy all that stuff and build all this shit. Right.
Yeah, but, like, what happened to, like, the 3 major families? Like...
Right, what happened to them, because he clearly probably dismantled the war.
Yeah,
or at least it stopped.
Yeah, because one didn't happen in 2014, apparently.
Yeah, but also we don't know if they'd be happening that frequently, either.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be longer gaps. It's just and originally the short gap between 4 and 5 was because of the influence of All the World's Evil. Excuse me. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting questions that I don't know if they, care about right now, but like the present of FGO is a very interesting time.
Oh yeah.
So there's a lot of interesting things in there. Like they may not be the same people, but we could assume that like some of those characters we know are adults now and are doing stuff. Like if the Grail War was dismantled and presumably they lost, would Sakura and Rin ever reconcile? Because like I said, I can't see Solomon, especially because we know him very well. I can't see Solomon finding out about anything related to Zoken Mato and not being like, yeah, I'm just gonna blow that guy up with giant space lasers. I invented this shit. That's not what you're supposed to use those for.
Yeah, and the possibility is like, what if Emiya was actually from like a small name fucking mage family that just got blown up during the fucking Fuyuki War?
Yeah,
or
we could finally answer the question: is Shiro actually related to Muramasa? Like, was that a thing, or are they just similar? Who knows?
Yeah,
because he would always have the potential. It's just what would happen to him if he wasn't part sword.
Yeah,
was Kiritsugu present? If there was no War 4 before that, did they even have to hire that guy? Is that why we have Sad Boy Emiya Assassin? Who knows?
There are questions, and I want answers. Damn it, Nasu!
Probably not right away, because FGO's got a lot of stuff to chew through. But also, for comparison, I wrote down the dates of all the singularities we have, too. So,
okay.
I want to just kind of throw that into context. So, the Fuyuki singularity occurs in 2004, Natch. Orleans was in AD 1431. Okay. Septim was in, not 2006, or 2060, 060, I mistyped that. So it was very shortly in the AD period. Okeanos was 1573. Len was 1888, which, again, put that in context. Remember, we met young Zoken as Zolgan in that timeline, and he is still around in 2004 being a creepy old dude.
Oh, he is seeking the secret of immortality. Gotta get to that root, yo.
So E Pluribus Unum was in 1783, once again, to remind you how fucking weird that was. Because America was, like, not even 10 years old yet. Camelot was in, quote-unquote Camelot, was in 1273. And Babylonia was BCE 2655. So, again, that was why that was a hold-up plot point. That was the only one that Geitia had to send back in time himself. All the others were after him because, like I said, unless I grossly miscounted, but I don't think I did, that all happened around 1000 BCE. And then, for extras, the EORs and other singularities. Shinjuku was said to be 1990X, which I think is just 1999, but they wanted to make it cool and, like, 80s or 70s-ish. In the distant future of the year 1990X. Seraph was 80-20-30, I guess? It was weird. Like, BB fucked around with us and made us go through time. Agartha was set in the year 2000, in case you forgot. That was why it was supposed to be so weird, because it was something fucking fantastical. Shimosa was 80-16-30, and I put a question mark here. So Salem was 1692, but also modern? It's weird.
It's kind of like it was a modern singularity.
Yeah, it was a modern singularity that was supposed to invoke a past time, but was really the present. It was a little weird, okay.
It was weird.
Salem was weird, kids. But yeah, that's basically our rough timeline of FGO stuff.
Yeah, it was basically a reality marble.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. It was cut away from reality. It was a place with its own rules where the world could not interfere, because that was the whole thing that, like, they expected that the counterforce was going to have to intervene. But yeah, so that's the timeline. Our remaining topics are: what is the Moon Cell, what is the Grail War and how do they work, and what is Magecraft Thaumaturgy. And I will probably, in the next month, add what is a Lostbelt, but we'll see what exactly the Lostbelt prologue covers. And now, we're at almost 2 hours, but I think we've confirmed that the next couple episodes are recaps, right?
Yeah, I want to say.
I believe so. There's a CM, but I don't want to check it right now. Well, actually, hold on. Maybe I should, because I want to stand up because we've been here for 2 hours. So I'm going to pause the recording. I'm going to double check something real quick, and then we'll be back. Okay, we're back. So yes, we double checked, and it looks like the TVCM upcoming is just stock footage of Ishtar. So I'm assuming it's the supposed recaps are going to be tomorrow and the next day. But yeah, so Babylonia number whatever. What number is it? 10? We at 10? Lucky, did you die immediately? Yes, right. Lucky did die immediately as we started talking about Babylonia, but we're back.
Yeah, so speaking about Babylonia, I just want to start off. Apparently, this is a very divisive episode among the community.
So, yeah, I mean, if you want to get your sad feelings out of the way, if you have them, they did not do verbatim Skywriter Justice Bomb, but also they didn't do the other dialogue option either. They kind of did a more serious in-between, right?
Yeah,
like, arguably in the game, both options are jokes, right? Like, they're just different types of funny, whereas in this, it's much more serious.
Yeah, and like, as I said, like, I've told people, like, I'm not necessarily, like, mad that they went this route, because this is what I tell people, like, immediately. First off, this is an adaptation. An adaptation. That means it's not gonna be a one-for-one, line-for-line, blow-for-blow thing, and I think some people need to accept that, I guess I want to say. I don't want to be like, well, I guess I am kind of putting people on blast.
You can put some of these people on blast, because the thing I'm going to mention is that apparently, and we'll mention it once again, in case you didn't know, you know how you hate social media in this country, in this language, and how everybody's mean on the internet, whether it's dumb trolls or cancel culture or whatever, and we're all really vicious. Japanese internet people are, like, way worse. Oh man, they're so bad. Like, we talked about this with Pavardi and Boudica's artist, etc., Nessa's artist, where, like, people were, like, super brutal to him. Like, they gave him congratulations on the day his dad died and stuff. Like, apparently that whole anonymization filter removes all the social masking that Japanese people normally have, and they just let it all out.
Well, that's why I mean, you know, the more you repress people, the more they fucking snap back. So
yeah, so Japanese Twitter and stuff was super brutal to the scriptwriter for Babylonia about this episode, apparently, and were, like, really, really mean and upset, and it's not really cool.
Yeah, like as I said, I'm sad. Like, I wanted my funnies, but, you know, at the same time, I understand that doing that kind of scene might have gone against the tone of the moment. Because... Yeah,
and it would have, because they turned it into a literal climax. Like, we'll talk about more of the other stuff that happens, but Fujimura climbs to the steps, and it's like, it's not enough yet, and he's like, okay, I'll show you how I'm even more brave and high, and be like, alright, hey, Ishtar, now carry me up. That's not part of, like, the plan. He comes to that decision, and of his own volition, jumps up to do the flying elbow drop.
Yeah, actually, do you want to know the thing that probably actually upsets me most about the scene? Is that they did a fucking fade to black when he's falling, and then he just wakes up on fucking, Quetz's, lap.
They don't actually show it. I don't know why, but maybe they couldn't figure out script-wise how to, like, because she'd have to do, like, some kind of complex taking the blow thing, I guess? I don't know, like...
Some people have said that they also felt like the animation was a little off this episode, and I don't know
if it was off. Maybe they used too many frames earlier. Cause,
I don't know.
Listen, there's a lot of fucking action scenes as is usual for FGO, and I just watched them earlier because I'm a busy man. I'm so busy. Oh my god. But a lot of the animation is, like, super smooth and flowing, so if it was, like, awkward when it was a little slower moving, I could see that.
Yeah, but, yeah, because they definitely set a mood, because, like, in this scene, you know, Ketz fucking throws, Fujimura her, it starts with an M.
Makohato. By the way, I think there was a lack of research maybe in the animation, because they make it have a sound effect and it look like metal that should be obsidian, but it looks more like metallic and makes a clanging sound, which I don't think is how that works, but whatever. The Foley team can only do so much.
Yeah. So, whereas in, because, like, honestly, like, with Jaguar Man and Ketz there, because Ketz is a kind of comical character just by existing, I
think Ketz's drama is that she's so relaxed and having so much fun while she's kicking the shit out of everybody, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's her shtick, is that she's super happy and, you know, mucha. They got the Ketz voice actors to drop some of Ketz's actual lines, which was great.
Oh my god, like, talking about the Ketz animation, do you know what actually seemed, like, stuck out the most with Ketz? is when she ran up Mash's shield.
Yeah, that was interesting and just... Ooh.
Yeah. Because here's the thing, she didn't do it like in one step. No, she actually had to scramble up a little, and they animated it all so well before they did. I was like,
and then she jumps, and also she does a fucking what do they call it? Like a flying clothesline to Mash along the edge of the shield, because as you would have found out when you played this, all of these servants can't do jack dick to Kets because they're all good. Like I assume Anna is probably chaotic or neutral good like Medusa. Ishtar is definitely lawful good. Mash is definitely lawful good.
Oh, yeah.
I want to look up how...
Jaguar Man scene, though, was great because it had the slow motion and just, I'm about to die.
Okay, so Jaguar Man is neutral, is chaotic neutral. But also Jaguar Man was easily defeated.
I'm gonna...
It was so great. They do this build up. She's like, I'm a little bit. I'm like 60% less tiger right now. I'm like lean jet tiger, and then immediately Kets rushes at her. They exchange blows, gets her in the fucking scissor lock, and does a flip. Is that called is that a hurricanrana? Maybe. I'm not an expert on wrestling moves. I think that's what it is. But she does like the grab him with your thighs and flip him into the mat thing. Only it's bare stone, and there's just this moment of realization, which everybody on the internet screen capped this and said, God, I wish that were me. But Jaguar Man's reaction to this was, she didn't... Basically, I'm going to die. And then gets powerbombed into the ground, and she's sticking out like a fucking dumbass tree. So basically Fujimaru, takes the and runs up, and he's just all like, he has the realization... that's everything's on point. But yeah, then they change it. Because, honestly, the more you think about it, that moment, before it got comical in the original script, it's actually a pretty fucking serious moment of Fujimaru realizing that, Quetz is basically playing the villain to test humanity. Right, and I believe in this moment, we actually have a flashback to what Old Man Mountain Man said, which was not in the anime.
Yeah. Yeah, do not celebrate and, all that crazy stuff. I heard some people were upset about that. I also heard some people were upset about that. I think, apparently Ishtar was supposed to say a line that, if you get on mana, you're going to become my possession or something. I'm not entirely sure. I don't remember.
That would probably slow down the dialogue too much. This isn't about, the jokey, we're making a plan, Ishtar's going to push you because she thinks that's funny.
Yeah.
That would slow down the flow.
Yeah.
Probably the same with the flashback. Here's the one thing. Show Don't Tell is good. They showed us the scene. They don't necessarily need to call back to it, especially because the anime is not as much script time as Babylonia is.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's okay to let exposition lie, right? You don't have to... That's the thing some animes have a problem with, where they flash back to literally everything. You don't have to spend time doing that.
And,
there were probably some scripting things that could have been a little tighter, and I'm sure most people were just, most people who were reasonable were just upset a little because they thought this was a really big moment. This is Ket's big scene. I think they still hit the key points, though.
Yeah,
which is, they show that Ket's is just as invincible in story as she was in-game, because that boss fight fucking sucked.
But she's still your fucking precious lucha-nee son.
Yeah, what does she say when she blocks both Mash and Anna? It's like, Ne-san's, big sister's getting excited.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, like I said, there were several of her lines. There was Mucho Mucho, there was Tanashimi Masho, let's enjoy this, getting excited. And the only thing was, because she didn't do her NP, she didn't say anything about it was getting hot or anything.
Mm. We might get that later.
Also, she drops a lot of fucking wrestling moves. She gets Ishtar with a flying cross chop right across the throat. And Ishtar's like, I'm not doing dick all of this chick. Mash with, like I said, with the clothesline. Both Anna and Jaguar Man get, like I said, the thigh lock throw, the hurricanrana type thing. Also, did you notice that we smash cut here? It's day, and then it's sundown? Took Fujimaru a long time to climb that pyramid. Which I thought was an interesting touch. Also, poor his servants who are still getting their asses beat down there. They do a cut to show that time has passed, which is, I think, is a little funny, but in a subtle way.
As I said, I'm assuming they got there mid-afternoon or something. They had to probably do a fuck ton of jungle traveling to get there.
Yeah. because they had to get through. We see that, we'll do some of our usual, like, stuff in order. We start off with a great flashback of Gil's dreaming about his time with Enkidu. Once I had a friend, he was sent to kill me, but he called me a star, and we get to see a little bit of Gil versus Enkidu. They're having fun. Gil shoots swords. Enkidu throws chains. Like, it's a cool little, in media res thing. And then he wakes up, and all these fucking people are jabber at him. They need this, they need that. Shidori wants something. He just bangs his fist on the chair and is like, everybody line up. I'll talk to one at a time. And he's talked to Siduri and he's like, are those guys at that axe yet? Are they done yet? Why are they taking so long?
I think it perfectly encapsulates Gil. It's like, how dare they move so slowly that everything is going according to plan. I'm just like, god damn it.
Yeah. Shouldn't they be faster? But then, so we smash cut, we're running through the jungle. We explain why Merlin's not here. He's fighting the flying serpents, the winged serpents, which are just Quetzalcoatlsaurs. Just great, they're fucking dinosaurs. And he's apparently attacking them and stuff, because the jungle's exploding.
Well, actually, flying dinosaurs make sense, considering,
well, also, they are literally called Quetzalcoatlsaurus. They are named after Quetz.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what those are. They're one of the world's largest flyers, I believe.
Oh, maybe that's why I decided to go with Quetzalcoatl as, this primordial being, prehistoric being.
Yeah, maybe. But it's just funny how namesakes and stuff work out there.
Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, so Merlin has stayed behind to fight there. We run into the scene. We see the Temple of the Sun. We see the fuck huge axe. It's still huge. I love it. Because everybody's like, isn't that a little too big? Like, even back at Command, they're like, isn't that huge? Ketz is there, and she's at the top, and she's like, yay, and she jumps down. She fights a little bit with the sword, but then she throws it away. And then just, the first half of the episode from here is just, like we said, all action, and it's all just Ketz kicking the shit out of everybody.
It was good.
Yeah, because they can't do anything. Ishtar shoots her a lot with, Gondor beams and even mana, and just... I think they literally make the tink sound as they bounce off Ketz. And she even comments on this again when she is beating up Mash. You guys are all good children. You shouldn't have brought the power of good to fight me. Basically, that the team is too nice to actually hurt her, which I thought was funny. But then Fujimaru does the thing. He says later that he realizes that Ketz actually loves humanity, because she gives a kind of motive rant. Mm-hmm. Which is she doesn't really want to kill humans. She just finds it entertaining to mess with us. We're fun for her. Mm-hmm. So she doesn't actually want to destroy us. It's not about that. That's just the circumstance we're in. That's how she explains why she didn't kill those guys, because she's like, that's not what I'm here for.
Yeah.
So Fujimaru figured out from that she actually really likes humanity. She loves humanity. Daisuke.
Well, because I don't remember who it is, but someone called Ketz an evil god. And Fujimaru was like, wait.
Romani says that to snap him out of it, because he looks like he's not going to break the Sunstone. And he's like, remember, we got to defeat this evil goddess who demands human sacrifice. And he's like, wait a second. No, that's not quite right.
Yeah.
Because we get a lot of married couple Romani and Da Vinci banter in this, where they're just going back and forth.
Yeah, honestly, this episode, I had to give some side-eye to fucking Romani. Because I can kind of understand where his points were coming for, but I guess we're talking about the after scene where Romani's he's trying to scold Fujimaru for his action. I'm like, Romani, what do you fucking expect him to do?
Well, it's just they had a plan, and if Fujimaru had been wrong, he would have been fucked, because if the master goes down, all is lost, basically. So he's very typical with Romani. He's trying to think, because he's Solomon. He's trying to think big picture, right?
Yeah.
And we get to see that he's fundamentally still a good guy, because Mash has her flashback, which is super important. Where she has a conversation with Dr. Roman about life and death, which is great. Yeah. That is a pivotal scene that I don't know if it was at this point in the story, but it's good that they inserted it. Because Dr. Roman says that, because Mash is like, Dr. Roman, does individual lives even matter? As humans, our lives will end. What's our meaning? Are humans devoid of meaning? And he's like, well, Mash, and this is very interesting for us, as we know that he is Solomon, that he's Well, Mash, you're right. To God, it may seem like individual humans are worthless. You know, there are so many little lives to take care of. But you don't live to create meaning. Like, you can't understand the meaning of your life until you've died, until your life is over. Then when your story is complete, other people will look back on it and understand what the value of that life was. And that's when your life has meaning. Which is basically, this is very important to Mash because she's totally dying. It basically saying that, like, it doesn't matter how long you're here for or what you've done. It's just when your life comes to an end, as all of our lives must, then we can look back and tell the story of your life. We don't live to create meaning, but basically by living, our lives will have meaning, kind of a thing. Which is that's a big deal to the questions and themes of FGO. Yeah. But yeah, so we do the whole thing. They do the fight. Fujimaru wins because he understands that Ketz will catch him because she actually loves human. He understands that even though she's playing a heel, she's still a pro, basically. She would never allow him to take a bad fall.
Yep.
She does what they say in wrestling and sells the hit.
Mm-hmm.
So she says she lost, and forms a contract. And Fujimaru gets all up in there, gets squished a little bit. Lucky fucker. Wait, he's me.
Gas.
Trust no one, not even yourself. Who is it that's salty about this? Is it Ishtar? Or is it Anna? Somebody in the moment says something funny about contracting another goddess. It might have been Ishtar.
I'm pretty sure it was Ishtar.
Ishtar's probably mad because Ketz and her are very similar, but she could do dick all. Which is just funny. And so they basically say, okay, alright, I'll get my flying serpents to take your axe to Uruk and we'll figure this whole thing out. I'll come back with you. We'll organize everybody. Oh, and my friend Jaguarman over here will supervise my flying serpents and make sure it's okay. And then Jaguarman's like, whoa, cuckoo. Are you demoting me to the B team immediately? And then Ketz reminds us that she's a scary, scary lady.
Well, what I like about this is that was initially Ketz was like, oh, don't worry, it'll be fun. She tries to be nice, but when Jaguarman pushes it, it's sudden shark face. It's just, oh.
It's like, oh, so shouldn't you just accept it when you're given a mission? Helping out is important too. A Skinner or a taxidermist, which would you like to see? And after that, Jaguarman is like, I'll be going now. Goodbye, everybody. Good luck. And then you get to fucking see her riding on the axis. They lift it up. Oh my god. Because we get to see that they lift it up to carry it. They don't drag it. They actually, like, fly it.
Then Jaguarman almost just fall off the axe and have to, like, dangle?
So. Probably.
Like,
that sounds like Jaguarman. There are a lot of quality Taiga puns in this. A lot of good,
I like... Fucking Jaguarman is, like, leaping all over the jungle but can't stay balanced on an axe. I'm like, what is he even...
That sounds like a cat.
Yep.
Like, the cat can jump to the top of a tall bookcase or something and get into all kinds of places, but then when they're just casually, like, jumping onto the back of the couch, they occasionally eat shit for no reason.
Yeah.
But then also, like we said, we have that kind of flashback and stuff, and we kind of talk about things. Throughout this, there's been a little bit of a theme with Da Vinci and Romani watching, where Da Vinci is, like, super casual. She even laughs at points, and Romani's like, Da Vinci, can you... Like, not quite like that, but he's a little bit like, could you be fucking serious for a moment? And she's like, calm down. You're screaming and crying about everything, because that's the doctor. The doctor is over-emotional.
There was actually a pretty good line about that, where he's all like, I can't remember what it was exactly, but he basically says something to the effect of, like, this is no time for hysterics, and Da Vinci is all like, well, this is no time to be absolutely goddamn serious either. I can't remember what the fucking line
basically
was.
It's like, it's no time for you to be screaming your head off either.
Yeah.
Like, there's no point for him to be freaking out worried, basically. And this is interesting because other than the Merlin freak out, I don't think we've seen a lot of the comical Romani in the show, which is a little bit sad because he's usually quite funny. Maybe we'll get more of that out of Camelot, but he's usually been exposition and stuff. And sometimes, like I said, like the Merlin bit is like very funny.
And we're not gonna get a lot of chance for comedy here pretty soon.
No. We might get some choice lines out of the Underworld thing because we'll talk about the post credits. But basically during this point we have a flashback to Camelot, to Atlas. Which that's very interesting to see them flashback to the thing they're going to do a movie on. But on the other hand, they also could probably gloss over that in the movie because that's not really relevant to the plot of Camelot, as it were.
Well, I mean, Holmes just literally busts in and drops fucking spoilers and exposition, and that's about it.
Yeah, basically they flash back to the time Holmes told you about the meta plot, where he's like, So we're here to observe events. Where the fuck did Dr. Roman come from? Why is he here? He showed up after Marsbury won the Holy Grail War, so that was relevant. And then he just showed up as a member of Chaldea. It's weird. What's going on here?
Questions.
Be curious about things. So yeah, and then he wanders off. And then I think this is the point where Mash has her flashback because she's like, I know that Sherlock Holmes told me that, but also she knows that Dr. Roman is a good person because she's a beautiful and pure snowflake. A marshmallow.
I don't know.
Who sadly keeps jobbing and will continue to job through this because this isn't Mash's story. Don't worry, Mash, you'll get Camelot. It's fine.
I know we haven't had a lot of choice, but I'm forever gonna love the fact that we got fucking Roman Sip and Da Vinci Sip out of these two.
Yeah.
Like,
and also there's a apparently yeah, they both do the Sip joke, but also apparently Ishtar Naruto runs, so there's a great shot, which I'm sure they framed just so they could show off her butt.
Yeah.
In the running, because Mash doesn't run like that, but also she's got a skirt.
Yeah. Also a giant shield.
Shield skirt. Yeah, but yeah, so like I said, I don't think Mash is gonna really get a lot of opportunities to do anything super cool, you know?
Doing a pose.
Because that's, like I said, this isn't really her story. Like, She will probably do some interesting tanking of stuff at some points. Because, you know, the shield is pretty strong. We get to see her block a couple of interesting hits. She once again, well, actually, she returns the favor this... did she return the... So, when Enkidu did it, was that was the Master got Mash out of the way, right?
I believe so, yeah.
So, she returns the favor here by when Ketz is about to do a fucking flying kick across the screen. Mash takes him out of the way and just saves him.
Yeah.
But also, she takes another full power kick from Ketz, and she's technically fine. Like, she gets pushed back, but she is unhurt because the shield is just that tough.
It's strong.
Well, it's a table, not a shield, so... Funnily enough. But anyway, that's Camelot stuff. But then, yeah, after a couple of our flashbacks, we get another camp in the woods scene. As people have noticed, Ishtar gets closer and closer to Fujimaru as the nights go on, which is a really fun little, again, show don't tell thing. And they talk about stuff. Ishtar is upset that he recruited another goddess again.
Let me pinch your cheek. I'm glad they put that in.
Yes. And they just have a little bit of a casual conversation about stuff, and ultimately she's like, hey, rest your head. Take 5. I'll take the rest of your watch. And as Fujimaru is going to sleep, she mentions, don't worry, nobody will harm you. The blessings of Urkala are with you. Which, if you know your mythos, is, you know, a tell. And then when he wakes up in the morning, I think he gets to, like, for a second, see Eresh in her full blonde form. And then, you know, kind of blinks and it's Ishtar. But we get back to the city, and Shidori comes busting out as we come up with, you know, the whole team. And she's really desperate. She's got some news. It's horrible. The king is fucking dead. Credits.
I'm pretty sure. So I think actually right now we're like full on time with what we call for episode lengths. But I find it interesting. They didn't mention the obelisk at all.
Yeah, no. They might flash back to that. Like, that might just be a pacing thing. Because in the episode, the show, it's spelled out as like a grand revelation, like a shocking cliffhanger that will apparently last 2 weeks. Where like, oh shit, the king is dead, and then we get our post credits where this is a great scene.
This is great.
Where Gil just opens his eyes again because he's taking another nap in his chair and he's sitting in the underworld. And it's just like,
it seems my nap. It seems my nap has made me waking up in the underworld. And I like how he just pauses for a moment and then just stands up like, hey, this ain't funny! I'm dead!
He's like, this isn't funny. This isn't a good joke at all, being dead. With the undertone obvious that he's like, I have shit to do. But yeah, so that's where it ends, is after the ED, Gil wakes up in the underworld in a chair and just sits up and he's like, fuck, I'm dead. Shit. And thus, yes, the next arc will be Eresh Kigal, so that'll probably be a really interesting one to see for a lot of reasons.
Like, I'm hoping, like, again, like, I really, like, I know,
well,
like,
I want to see how they handle the gates, because, especially remember, playing the Christmas event now, they make sure to mention that last time, like, that's when you get to the first gate, Fujimaru says that it's like, I remember, wasn't this like a trivia game last time? Like, you will say that, but it's, and then Altera Santa is like, or no, the first gatekeeper, I think, Anna, is like, no, you have to sacrifice something now, so you basically have to give a gift.
Yeah, but we're gonna, like, also, like, are we gonna get fucking, like, house cat Ishtar?
I mean, they can't make her naked, so I think they would probably
they
make her small.
Yeah, but, like, how much of that are we gonna get? Like, are we gonna get, like pixie fucking Ishtar,
well,
fucking
so remember, that's her at the end, so we will definitely see her at her smallest, probably.
Or, like, when they run into Gilligan and, like, she almost knocks him off the edge. Remember, they made a figure of that.
Yes. They will probably do that. I'm expecting the gates will probably be maybe like a montage. Also, fair warning, I might have to stop suddenly to sneeze. I feel it. It might be going. But, because there's 7 gates, right? So, while funny, they could probably just do a montage of the questions and possibly Ishtar getting smaller and smaller until we meet up with Gil, have a conversation with him, and then the end, when she's super tiny, Ereshkigal pops out. And like I said, I'm very curious if they're gonna do a for real Ereshkigal fight, because they don't have to turn her into a giant ghost. Or are they gonna, like, do the joke with she tries to summon up being a giant ghost to, like, scare everybody and it doesn't work?
Well, like, that joke only really works if, like, the protagonist realizes that it's Ereshkigal the entire time. Because Ereshkigal gets completely flustered when she, reveals herself. And, as I said, like, I don't know, maybe too comical? Maybe they're trying to make it more serious? You are trying to challenge the goddess of the underworld.
Yeah, like I said, they could make it an actual action scene where she doesn't have to, and then after a little bit of fighting, then it's just like, Fujimaru would drop, like, I don't know why we're fighting. Aren't we friends? We've talked a lot. And she's just like, because Eresh is adorable, in case you don't know. By the way, that's her My Room line reaction. Oh, I probably shouldn't say that. That's going to double hurt Lucky, but I have to now. I've started it.
God damn it.
She has a My Room line for Kets, which starts with her getting, like, the shock face with, like, the losing the color, and she goes, oh, wow. Like, is that Quetzalcoatl here? Like, she gets real freaked out to meet Kets. She's also super mad at Ishtar. She's like, so you know Ishtar as well. I have a lot of things to say about that. Like, just funny being, the goth one.
Yeah.
But also her like line is, what do I like? Obviously it's, I like diligently working the underworld and nothing else. I definitely wasn't thinking about something else. like Ishtar's tsundere, but, like, Eresh is just a huge dork. Like, she's super shy.
I'm sorry. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking about huge dorks. I'm just remembering the neat Hime line of, "I hope you like bad girls because I'm bad at everything."
Yeah, I think that's an edit, but still, it's funny.
Yeah, is it an edit? I don't know.
I don't know. It could be real because that would make sense for her character. Because she is very self-deprecating and very socially awkward.
I saw it in a screenshot for someone, so maybe it is an edit. But I can see her.
Yeah, that's funny. If that is an edit, let us know. Okay, we're at almost 2.5 hours, so we should probably wrap up.
This is a meaty episode.
Yes, well, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of stuff happened in the last week. And there were an extra couple of days, too, because we recorded early because of the stream. Ta-da! Alright, so yes, like I said, the intent is for this to be the last episode of 2019. Holy shit, it's gonna be 2020 soon, Lucky.
Hindsight! Get all your hindsight!
Yeah, but so, like I said, we will hopefully see you guys back next publicly for an episode on the 3rd. That'll be 120. It'll be live to the public. Like we said, that'll be the recording. It'll be around there, like I said, barring any unusual circumstances that prevent it. Everybody, in the meantime, just enjoy your holidays, have fun, talk to people. At the very least, we've given you a lot of show to listen to while you farm lottos. Which people
I hope the fucking ball drops in January 1st, and all of a sudden it's just Cyberpunk Future immediately. Just poof, dystopian Cyberpunk Future.
Elon Musk comes out and says, yes, so I have created an AI that will destroy America and turn it into a corporate hellhole. Buy your Tesla laser rifle now.
The not a laser.
Not a railgun.
No, not a laser. It's not a laser. It is a lighting device.
It also just happens to have enough intensity to melt your face off.
Yeah, I mean that's how they market it. Not a flamethrower. It was a gardening aid.
I mean, also, honestly, it's really not. I know. It's just a couple meters of fire, but still, it's funny.
I mean, I could set someone on fire with that.
Well, yeah, but still, it's yeah. I think legally though, it doesn't count as a flamethrower because it's like a couple of a meter.
Yeah.
Because flamethrowers are illegal lots of places, kids. Always check your local laws. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and wind down because also I'm sleepy. I'm a sleeper boy. And just say that, hey, if you're listening to this on YouTube, be sure to give us a like if you liked it. If you have any comments at all, leave them in the comment section down below, or join our Discord. That link is, as always, in the description. And of course, if you are new here and haven't already, please subscribe to our channel to get all of our latest videos. We got a couple of other things coming out, like I said. Just, main shows are going to be done for the year. And also, always consider hitting the bell for notifications so you always know we post a new video, or you get a notification when Lucky streams, because while he says he's going to be more consistent, you still don't know when that's going to happen.
Time, space, all that crazy stuff.
He could do it at noon, he could do it at midnight. You don't know. You don't know Lucky's life.
Like, honestly, that's why I don't do roll streams, because I like to roll at, 2 to 3 a.m. in the morning.
Honestly, that's when I prefer to roll as well. That's when your minutes at its peak, but yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Some people do, some people don't. But yeah. So, also, like it says at the front of the show, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get access to episodes early, you can get access to them in audio format for as little as $1 a month downloadable. Great for if you are actually going on a plane over the holidays, you can download some episodes. And we really appreciate your support. It drives stuff like us, or me anyway, at least buying a better phone so maybe I can record or stream more video. You don't know. Getting a computer that's Windows 10 so I can do new things. Alrighty, that is the show, everybody. So, we're gonna go. And, happy holidays, everybody. Have fun.